Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin, and I'm joined as ever by my Joshi brother-in-arms, the national TV sensation that they call Mr. Matt Turner. Matt Turner, how are you, good sir?
Rob Goodwin, better than normal. I'm always really good.
Wow.
This week has just been a phenomenal week. First of all, who's got the better hairdo today, me or you? Like our hair, I mean, now this is like 7 stars in the Tokyo Dome, buddy. Like in the comment section below, let's get a vote going. No wrong answer. No wrong, like very much like what's been the best match of the 5-star Grand Prix? There's no wrong answer. Let's get the comment section for you fantastic viewers on YouTube. Who's got the better hair today? The Gerbster or Mr. Vice TV himself, Mr. Wednesday night, Tuesday night. I don't know.
Tuesday night, Matt Turner. I love it.
It's a Tuesday night, Matt Turner. But no, brother, I'm phenomenal. What a great week. Obviously, we're going to get into these 3 fantastic shows from Stardom 5-star Grand Prix. And we got 3 more on deck coming Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So I'm excited about that. As recording this is Thursday. We had 2 phenomenal shows from our friends over at Marigold with a great main event, as well as our friends with Tokyo Joshi Pro, as they're rounding out their Tokyo Princess Cup. Monday was my wife's birthday. Took her to a fancy dinner. That was great. Tomorrow, going to take the girls to go see Spider-Man. So super, super excited about that. Rob, as great as all that is, and it's been fantastic. Best part of my week, tickets were purchased. Myself and my beautiful bride going to go see it. Not only we're actually going to be in 2 countries because we have a layover in Ireland. So yeah,
beautiful country of Ireland.
I'll be hanging out in the airport in Ireland for I think an hour and change, give or take, and then we do fly over to go see you guys. Not only that, and I mentioned this on Talk Joshi with the fantastic Andy Header. Here's how my Saturday into Monday is going to go. So Saturday night, the 22nd, which will bleed over into the 23rd, I will be watching the finals of the Tokyo Princess Cup. Yep. And then right after that, the finals of the 5-star Grand Prix. And we're going to get into the potential card there because we have 1 match announced. Yeah. Then I will probably take an hour nap. I will go to my Sunday job. Then I will come home. I will get a little bit of a sleep. And then we have a little show called Sareee-ISM, which again, we'll get into that. Me and you will more than likely record our 5-star Grand Prix final. Then a few hours later, I'll be driving to Philadelphia to fly out to Ireland and then England. So yes, no rest for the wicked. I will sleep on the plane. Maybe, he says. So
maybe, yeah.
I'm excited. So much great things going on. But enough about me. What's going on with you and your fancy hairdo? And are you wearing is that the Konami hate shirt you got on, buddy?
It is indeed. You've got to represent the Icicle Princess, or Miss Cold Icicle Princess, or whatever the ridiculously convoluted nickname is.
And what's going on with those shoulders, buddy? You're looking swole over there. Like, are we going to be doing shrugging some Buicks or what when I go over there or what?
Hey, what can I say, mate? I've got to get myself in. I've got to get myself in all in shape. Again, got Omega and Ospreay in the main event, and I don't want to be outshone on home soil.
That's right. You got a home game.
I mean, to be fair, mate, it was just getting to a point where the weight was getting a bit ridiculous and needed to do something about it. So, lost a little bit of timber and looking at just being a bit healthier, I think.
That's what it's all about, buddy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You look great. I know you're feeling great. We got some great stuff to talk about. But anywho, like as I said before, and I apologize. What's going on with you, brother? How's everything in your neck of the woods, other than you looking devilishly handsome on a Thursday night?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to something that never happens. I won a football match on Sunday. I know.
And you won a Joshi Pro Prediction League. Unbelievable. Rob,
I feel like life doesn't get any better than this, to be honest.
I'll say this. I meant to text you this earlier today when we were texting. I forgot to. I may as well use this opportunity to tell you. Obviously, you're doing phenomenal. I'm doing phenomenal. Yesterday, I submitted our press passes for All In, and I'm feeling really, really confident about it. Now, I know there's a possibility that me and you might get hammered, and we'll just give the press passes to the girls. And I could already see Amber be like, oh, by the way, I just want to let everybody know Tam sucks. Does anybody want a fresh baked cookie? Like, I already see that. She's prepared. We're going to prepare her.
Absolutely. I mean, I would be sorely disappointed if we weren't doing the entirety of All In Weekend absolutely hammered, because I'm 99% sure I'm going to be at least 24 drinks deep at this wedding.
24.
At least 24, and then of course, 5 p.m. start UK time for All In at Wembley Stadium, and why not shell out £33 for a pint in London? So. All to look forward to. Also, and what I will say is, the food situation had better be better than it was in Glasgow when I went for Dynamite last year, because genuinely, I am still annoyed about that. I am more annoyed than I have any right to be. Now, the last time we went to Wembley, because obviously Wembley's been rebuilt, for those who don't know, our American contingent. The old Wembley Stadium was iconic, had 2 big towers. And I went there when I was younger to watch England versus Argentina, ironically, back in like 2000, something like that. I was only 10. The new stadium I hadn't been to until I went. It was a really nice present. We had. We went to go and watch Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Philadelphia Eagles. What's it called? Hospitality, which was awesome. And we were talking to a really, really nice woman, incredible Philadelphia Eagles fan, absolutely loving it. Come over just for the match. Don't remember the score, I'll be honest, brother. But she was wearing the most incredible hat that I have ever seen in my life. It would put my Sakurai to shame.
To shame.
Sonada, forget about it. This woman's hat had a full-sized, it was supposed to be an eagle, 100% looked like a seagull. This enormous life-size seagull on top of it. And whenever Philadelphia Eagles got a point, she would click a button and the damn thing flapped and squawked. It was incredible. My brother just looked at it. He didn't see a single thing that happened. And I was just staring at this woman's hat like, what is this? It honestly, incredible. It would have been even more incredible had it looked anything like an eagle and not just a seagull.
I know it needs to be done. We'll obviously talk about this more in the Marigold Standard. Sakurai needs to come out with a hat. And when she presses a button, an action figure of her comes out and does the Goodwin elbow drop.
Just drops into a hand with the Goodwin elbow drop. I love it.
There it is. There it is. But anywho, your football match, because this is the third time. I will shut up. So you won. Congratulations.
We did.
Let's hear all about it. A lot of big things going on. Go ahead, brother. The floor is yours.
I will just point out it wasn't a league match. So every year we play basically a Legends team made up of our former players. And last year I couldn't play because shock, I was injured.
Consistency.
Absolutely. I think, I'd just come back from that slip disc in my back, and then literally first game back, I'd blown out my knee. So I was fuming. So anyway, played at an actual football stadium, which is quite cool. And we won 10-2. We absolutely annihilated them. Again, it was a friendly. Again, they are a team made up of people that don't play football anymore. So the fact that they scored 2 goals, probably not a great indication of us. But the winning feeling. I mean, we've now won 2 preseason games, and I don't want to jump the gun, obviously, but we're going to win the league. Obviously, we're going to win every game, and we're going to win them comfortably. That's just the way it is.
I love it. Good for you, buddy. Positivity, just rolling. You got to stack those wins, buddy. You got to stack those wins. That's what's going on right here with the Gerbster and the Matt Turner over here on the Stardom Cast. We hope you're all winning as well as you're listening to a slightly above average podcast. I'll call it, buddy.
I'm stacking them wins like I'm at Suki Aoki. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Linking it back.
I love it, brother.
we have got a shed load to talk about today. Not only have we got 3 shows to talk about, Kanazawa, Joetsu, and Korakuen Hall as well, to bring you a lot of the matches for the 5-star Grand Prix. We've also got a load of news coming out of Stardom, including a retirement, why Saori Anou and Natsupoi aren't in the 5-star Grand Prix, a Sareee-ISM card, a Meltzer 5-star match, and worldwide Hazuki continuing. But Matt, before we get into any of this, before we chat one jot about any of this, good sir, tell me, oh Lord, tell me, what is coming up on our Patreon this week?
This past weekend, I released my review of Miyu Yamasha's win in the 2023 Tokyo Princess Cup. Some really great matches. That was a really fun one to go back. Rob, I'm sure you and our listeners have probably realized I'm watching a lot of Miyu Yamashita. I think she's neat. Like Marge Simpson would say about potatoes. I just think they're neat.
I just think they're neat. I just think they're neat.
I just think that we don't do enough Simpsons reference on this podcast. We're going to bring it back. But yeah, that's on the feed. Alternate commentary. I went back to 2019. I was like, I want to watch something pre-COVID on the 5-star Grand Prix. I'm scanning through, and there is babyface Tam Nakano versus literally baby Azumi from 2019. So I went back and watched it. That was a really, really great match, a really fun one. So that for alternate commentary, Tam versus Azumi from the 2019 5-star Grand Prix. That is on the feed. And then, boy, howdy, I cannot wait for all of you fantastic listeners to listen to this. Coming up this weekend, roundtable discussion. Myself and the 2 Andys, Andy Header and Andy Zyke from the Tokyo Joshi Pod, which, by the way, new episodes drop each and every Friday. There's his free plug.
It's one plug a week.
Yes, absolutely. And our roundtable discussion is our top 10 favorite Joshi finishers. So this was a really fun one to do. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but our number 10 were the exact same. Like, okay, this is going to make for an interesting podcast. That's really the only time we did it. We did have quite a few of ones that would, this was the number 2. This one was somebody's number 5. But yeah, our number 10s were all the same. So I was like, how about that? It was a really, really fun podcast, and that'll be on your feed for the roundtable discussion tier coming up this week. And I'm still working on that Momo Watanabe 5-star Grand Prix review from 2025. Again, maybe in the next 2 to 3 weeks, that'll be up on your feed. But so much great stuff, past, present, future, buddy. We absolutely load the World of Joshi Patreon page. As I always say, it does not cost anything to look, and Rob Goodwin will tell you exactly where to find that page.
Absolutely. www.worldofjoshi.com or patreon.com/World of Joshi takes you to exactly the same spot. I just want to apologize. I have forgotten to put up the schedule on social media. I actually made it as well. I just forgot to post it. So it just happens, unfortunately. It's chaos inside my head, I tell you. So I apologize for that, but keep an eye out for all of our releases. Just wanted to plug again, we did have the pleasure, and it was a pleasure, of chatting to Nightshade as well after her stint in Japan, becoming one half of the AAAW Tag Team Champions alongside Nyla Rose, challenging Miko Anou for the Marigold World Championship, wrestling for Noah as a part of Monday Magic. Really great discussion and a real delight to talk to. So you can check that out in the archives and indeed on YouTube as well. Matt, I know this isn't a Marigold podcast, but I did just want to start with a little bit of news that unfortunately was announced today. At the end of Marigold's Korakuen Hall show, Miko Anou informed the fan base that ring announcer Oki Akita has been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. She also explained that the upcoming Summer Destiny pay-per-view, which will emanate from Ibarra Wave, which is obviously the old Ota Ward, on the 9th of August, will be an Oki Aid benefit show. Obviously, awful news. The man is an absolute treasure. He's the life and soul whenever he's been announcing Marigold shows, and has been a mainstay of promotions like Arcean and stuff prior to that as well. Myself and Matt just want to wish all the best, sending all our good hopes, our prayers, and everything like that to a fantastically talented individual, and we hope that Oki gets we hope he's feeling okay, basically.
Yeah, Rob, you've gotten to know me on a personal level quite a bit over these last few years, and the big C word is something that it strikes. It's heartbreaking in my family, both on my side and of course my wife's side. So when I did see this morning, I was like, oh, that's absolutely heartbreaking. But I mean, if you're judging by this picture that Marigold posted and that we have over here, again, if you're watching on YouTube, man's in good spirits. He's giving the too sweet. He's a smile on his face, so he's fighting the good fight. And I guess the one thing to look at this is he's not fighting this alone. Not only does he have the entire Marigold roster behind him, but as well as the fan base and the Joshi fan base. So yeah, we'll definitely be fighting with him as much as we can to hopefully he does get clear of this awful, awful disease. And I just want to say F cancer.
Absolutely.
That's
Hell
right
yes.
there.
And I think it's a really nice touch as well for Marigold to be using the Summer Destiny pay-per-view as a benefit show as well. Again, it's awful for him, it's awful for his family, and again, we just want to wish him nothing but the best. And yeah, absolutely, Matt. You know what? I don't care if we get demonetized. Fuck cancer.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're with you, my friend. Thoughts and prayers to him.
So, Matt. Unfortunately, my thing about Stardom press conferences came to fruition again. Literally the day after we dropped our podcast last week, Stardom announced that there would be a press conference, an emergency press conference, and it was announced that Natsupoi will be retiring from professional wrestling on the 3rd of January 2027 in Yokohama Budokan. She seems in really good spirits, seems really excited about this next phase of her life. She was asked if marriage and family was a reason behind it, and she was like, yes, of course it is, which I thought was a very blunt and good answer. And basically, again, she's been... Taro Okada, who obviously did the press conference with her, was very clear that he organized the IWGP Women's Championship match between Saori and Natsupoi to try and rekindle the love to stop her retiring. Didn't work, obviously. But I thought that was a really funny touch to the press conference. But he has said that he would love for Natsupoi to work behind the scenes rather than being an active competitor. Now, obviously, I think we'd sort of put 2 and 2 together. The knee pad that she left in the ring after her IWGP Women's Championship match, not being included in this year's 5-star Grand Prix, not being considered as the leader of Cosmic Angels, obviously the marriage to Shingo as well. All of these things were culminating to a point where it's like, maybe Natsupoi is winding down her time in the ring. Of course, that has come to fruition. But with a lot of Joshi retirements, and it feels like we are saying this a lot more, which is fantastic. It's so good to go out on your own terms. It's great to go out on your own terms when you're fit, when you're healthy, when you're able to enjoy life outside of the ring. Now, can Natsupoi still go? Hell yes. We're going to be talking about the fact that she can still go very shortly. But again, it's what she wants. It's, the next stage of her life, family life and things like that. Is she going to be missed? Absolutely. She's going to leave a huge hole on the roster without a shadow of a doubt. Now, Stardom are very lucky in the fact that they have an extremely deep roster, but Natsupoi is a very, very unique part of that roster. Someone who you can plug into any situation and you know what you are going to get from her. She's going to be sorely missed, but obviously we wish her nothing but the best in the future.
Well, you were able to put 2 and 2 together, Rob. I didn't. I sure didn't. And boy, howdy, did our fans have a good time at my expense. Like, huh, Matt, you were wrong on that one. Sure was. Sure was. Very much. Almost to the same kind as almost 2 years to the day of the Saya Kamitani heel turn. So I figured, hey, you may as well stay consistent. Yeah, if for any new listeners to the show, if this is your first time, hello, welcome, and thank you. So Rob and I talked about this last week, and I was like, maybe she just took the knee pad off. I think the internet's making too big of it a deal. I don't think that she's retiring. And then I think it was like the day we dropped the episode is when she's like, I'm retiring. And I was like, oh, and then it's so funny because I was listening to it on my way to work. And then when I got to work, when I got to my one of my destination, I looked at my phone and people were like, yeah, Matt, you got that one wrong. I'm like, sure did. I sure did, but I'll say this, Robin, I'll tell you how I found out about this. So I was getting ready for work, and I'm on Twitter, and Stardom's like, press conference in 15 minutes. I was like, okay, it's emergency press conference. And then the tweet I saw right beneath it was, here are all the wrestlers that their 90-day no compete are done. They're now free agents. And one was Kairi. And I was like, is it a Poi retirement, or is my positive thinking telling me that it's Kairi? Kyrie's going to go. And it's like, no, you know what? I did literally 24 hours ago a podcast and was like, she's not retiring, the whole knee pad thing. I was like, yeah, maybe it's Kairi. And it was starting at 6 a.m. my time. So I fed the cats. I was getting ready for work. And all of a sudden, look up at 6:02. I was like, oh, let me put this press conference on. And Rob, when you go to YouTube, it gives you your algorithm of things that you watch. And as soon as I went to YouTube, there it was on my algorithm, Natsupoi announcement. I was like, oh no, I don't think she's announcing that. Like, I just really love wrestling. I just want to let everybody know I love wrestling. And I was like, oh no. But I'll tell you this, the press conference, and I was texting you, was completely dubbed over in English. So you didn't have to do any translation. They completely dubbed it over in English. So you're getting the content as it's coming out. So I was just like, oh, okay. But I think that like with Natsupoi, I liked how Terracotta kind of put Natsupoi on the spot and was like, hey, we'd love for you to still work for Stardom as either like a brand ambassador or like something backstage. And then Natsupoi's like, yeah, I still got 5 months left. I would like to challenge for titles. Is that okay? And Terracotta's like, sure. Like, I like how they put them both on the spot. I'm like, who doesn't want to see Natsupoi stay in Stardom in some form or another? Like, everybody. Who doesn't want to see Natsupoi challenging for titles in one for another? So I was like, sweet. Like, this was the best like retirement press conference. We didn't want Natsupoi to go, but the fact that we get 5 months of Natsupoi, we're going to get into her retirement road, because boy howdy, by no means is she taking it easy. But
she is not.
The fact that the door is open for her to be a brand ambassador and maybe do some stuff, maybe putting the matches together or a producer, that's great. And the fact that it looks like she's going to be getting some title shots at titles, hopefully, on her way out, that's fantastic. But when they basically said, this is the next step for marriage, Natsupoi was pretty much like, yes. So I know the press conference was kind of taken like she's kind of lost her passion for wrestling. I don't think that's it at all. I just think that she's putting more of her focus on starting a family, which is awesome. It's in my opinion, the only thing better than wrestling. Like, I don't know if you know this, guys, I really, really love wrestling, but family is more important than wrestling. The fact that she's married to Shingo, and again, she didn't directly say it, but at least these dots I can connect, Rob, is that her and Shingo are going to be starting a family sooner than later. Is kind of the dots that I connect. So it's going to be sad to see Natsupoi go, but as you said before, buddy, going out on her own terms. It's not like, man, I need to retire because my body's just breaking down. Like, look, you look at the retirements we've seen over the last few years. Nanane still was great. Meiko Satomura still is great. Fantastic. Risa Nakajima, terrific. We saw there's another one that I'm missing. Himika. Fantastic. Yeah, on her way out. So it's just like they're retiring on their own terms, and they're retiring at the top of her game. You look at, and I was thinking about this, look at everything that Natsupoi's done. Like, I know she didn't win the red belt. More likely won't win the red belt in these last 5 months. But like my Himipoi, arguably the greatest artist to Stardom champions of all time. Then she was in Restart with Kairi and Saori Anou. I know they didn't have a long reign, but they had some of the best matches in the history of the artist to Stardom championship. And then the work rate angels, as we call them, with Tam and Saori Anou. Boy howdy. I mean, there's a 5-star match there. We're going to get into that again. They had that 5-star match in Korakuen back at the beginning of last year with Starlight Kid, Azumi, and Miyu Amasaki. Me and you and a lot of our listeners voted her the MVP of the 2023 5-star Grand Prix. She had 2 fantastic tag runs, one with Tam Nakano as part of Meltzer, and one with Saori Anou, which we're not done yet, folks, as part of Saori-Poi. And she had a great run as Wonder of Stardom champion including one of the greatest Wonder of Stardom champion matches of all time, probably my top 3 or 4, when she lost the belt to Starlight Kid back at Dream Queendom in 2024. You look at all that, that's a Hall of Fame career, considering she's only 31, 12 years. And Rob, we're not done yet. We still got 5 months of Natsupoi. I'm sure, Rob, you may or may not have lined up in the news a couple things that Natsupoi may or may not be doing within a 24-hour span coming up at the end of next month.
I don't know what you could possibly mean, Matt. Don't know what you're talking about. I do just want to talk a little bit about Natsupoi. Obviously,
Please.
12 years in the ring, which is, or just under, 12 years in the ring she will have when she retires at Budokan on the 3rd of January 2027. In terms of matches, 842 matches she's wrestled over the course of her career, 405 wins as well, at a win percentage of 48.1%, multi-time Artist of Stardom champion, Goddess of Stardom champion, Wonder of Stardom champion. Where do you think Natsupoi ranks in terms of Stardom wrestlers? Obviously, Stardom have been blessed with an incredible abundance of talent. Natsupoi, for me, in terms of in-ring, is certainly up there. I would argue, again, Tam Nakano will, irrelevant of my thoughts on the matter, be classed as one of the Stardom greats. In terms of in-ring, I think Natsupoi is better. In terms of in-ring psychology, obviously, Tam, I think, is better. But where do you think Natsupoi ranks? Is she top 5? Is she top 10? Is she top 20? I think she's certain, for me at least, she's certainly top 20, approaching the top 10. I don't think she cracks the top 10 for Stardom, but she will leave a legacy in the company that is very, very impressive when you consider her haul. And this is without talking about the fact that she's also a high-speed champion.
Probably top 20. I mean, at the top of my head, I'd really have to write it down. And then there's kind of 2 more funny things I want to go to before we go into the next thing. But I mean, at the top of my head, like you got Mayu, Io, Kamitani, Momo Watanabe, I don't know, Tam, Shuri. They're probably top 5, top 6. Kyrie.
Nanae?
I don't think she wasn't she was there in the beginning.
She was the first champion.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean,
602 days as champion, still a record now. Nah.
How many? Can you name me all the without looking at the internet, all the defenses she's had?
I think she only had 4. In fairness.
Anyway, I think Nanae is a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. But I'm talking in my top 10. No, she's not. But I mean, I think Micah might be over Natsupoi, and obviously Micah still has a ways to go. Utami as well, but I don't think cracks the top 10, top 20. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you mentioned high speed champion as well, very versatile. One of the best singles wrestlers we've seen, and I just mentioned 3 different artist teams she was a part of, and 2 of the best tag teams in Stardom history. So you throw that in. And then not only that, Rob, but obviously you have Tam retired a year and a half ago. We have Natsupoi retiring. So I just want to use this form. I want to use my voice, let everybody know that on January 4th on eBay, I will be putting my sealed in mint condition deluxe Meltzer CD on eBay. The bidding will start at $1 million. So
$1 million.
I know it's low. It'll be Christmas season. Exactly. That's exactly. I got it from
$1 million.
$1 million. I know you're like, Matt, that's really low. Look, it's Christmas season. It's January 4th is Wrestle Kingdom. So I'm always in that wrestling mood. So that's why I'm starting the bidding low at $1 million. Now, this is something you did mention when we were texting back and forth that Rob did say, and I mentioned this on Talk Joshi last week, that he did say, I really hope Tam comes out on January 3rd. So obviously,
say that.
Yes, you did. I have the text to say it. But do you, in all seriousness, do you think we see Tam somewhere during this retirement road?
I am really conflicted about this because obviously, I mean, Natsupoi has come out in an interview and said her favorite time in wrestling was the stuff that she did with Tam, was wrestling in Cosmic Angels with Tam. However, by this point, Tam will have been out of the public eye, out of Stardom, out of everything, off social media for nearly 2 years. My concern is the same concern I had at All-Star Grand Queendom this year when I thought there's a possibility she might get involved in the Kamitani-Sayaka match. I don't want her appearance to take away the spotlight from Natsupoi. Now, I don't know if it would. I think if she was going to come back in any capacity, she would make an appearance for this. Do I think she wrestles Natsupoi as her final match? No, I don't. I think the chances are that will probably be Sareee. But I imagine it's more likely that she shows up for this than it was for the Kamitani and Sayaka match for All-Star Grand Queendom, even if it's just maybe in video form. But again, who's to say? What are your thoughts?
The fact that they made such a big deal of Kamitani versus Kurora if it was just a regular match at All-Star Grand Queendom.
They did that whole the whole installation as well for it, don't forget.
Exactly. That whole thing, we thought, okay, she didn't come back for that, then she's done. But now it's like, this is a possibility now, because we even mentioned that if they were going to take the belt off Kamitani to put on a Cosmic Angel, should have went to Natsupoi because there's more of the story. So, because again, Poi is closer with Tam. Our Tam's closer with Poi than really anybody in the current, graphs of the Cosmic Angels. So maybe I'm betting with my heart, but I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say she does come back. If she doesn't come back for this, again, a match. Yeah. And I think Natsupoi did say something at the press conference. She has a really great idea of her final match.
She's not letting anyone know.
She's not letting anybody know. I mean, that's something. And here's something too. Kairi's now a free agent. We know Kairi and Natsupoi are close. Do we see somewhere between now and the 3rd, her and Kairi either in the ring together as a team or across the ring from each other?
Ooh, the Kairi thing is interesting because I know she has ties to Stardom, obviously, but does she have more ties to Rossi than she does with Stardom? Now, if she's got more ties with Rossi, then the chances are she's probably going to emerge in Marigold. If she doesn't and she remains a freelancer, then yes, absolutely. However, obviously that is dependent. If she doesn't and she ends up signing with Marigold, then no. I don't mind Tam appearing. I don't think that'll be the match. I'd be very surprised if that's the match. I'd be over the moon if it was the match.
Folks, you heard it. He wants to see Tam back in the ring. Come on. It's right there. Rob, do not edit that out. Do not edit that out. Folks, clip it. Rob Goodwin, maybe the biggest Tam fan on this podcast. Look out, folks. He's going to start the bidding at $1 million. He wants that Meltzer deluxe sealed edition.
Sealed edition. There's a reason that hasn't been open, Matt.
You don't touch perfection. That's why there's all those ropes around the Mona Lisa. Like you don't. I think it's over there somewhere. It's so funny because it is over there, and I can see it. And right below it is my garbage can. Make your jokes as you will.
Absolutely, and that is the right place for that absolute assault on the senses that is that Meltzer album. An
Deluxe.
Album, right? I'm sorry. Calling it an album with 3 goddamn songs on it is just ridiculous. And then having the audacity to put 3 karaoke tracks backing tracks on there and calling it a deluxe edition. It's basically to see if you can sing better than Tam is just monstrous marketing. It really is. Anywho, yeah, obviously Natsupoi will be sorely missed on this roster. I think they've been massively teasing a teaming up of Kid and Natsupoi again, rekindling team mutual love. So that's 100% happening. She said she absolutely wants a husband and wife match with Shingo. So that's 100% happening. We know another match that's going to happen, which I'll talk about in a moment because it's literally the next slide. Again, her if not Tam, which again, betting rationally, I don't think it will be. Who would you like to see that final match be? Because again, you look at her friends in wrestling, Sareee is her best friend. And that might not just be in wrestling, it might just be full stop. And I know they're across the ring from each other soon at the end of August, literally the day after. But will it be a one-on-one match between those two, do you think, at the Yokohama Budokan?
I originally thought that her and Saori Anou would have been the final match. I'm like, no, you ain't waiting to get it. You're getting it in Sumo Hall on the final night of the 5-star Grand Prix. So batting on the hatches for that show might be the show of the year in all of wrestling, the way that we're kind of in fantasy booking it. At the top of my head, Rob, if we're not getting anything with Tam, I'm going to say it's Soripoi versus Sareee and Kairi. That's that's the way. Again, you look at these matches we have coming up. Again, we're going to talk about in a little bit. She's not going into this retirement road by putting on the brakes by any stretch. I mean, if these are the kind of the first two big matches we're getting on this retirement road, and again, we're possibly getting something with mutual love, her and Starlight Kid teaming up once again. We'll probably get a big match with her and Izumi somewhere down the road. And then if we do get the husband and wife duo of her and Shingo versus Yuka Sakazaki and Takeshita, where that happens,
imagine.
Where does that happen? Does that happen in Tokyo Joshi Pro where Natsupoi kind of cut her teeth into? Like, where does that? I'm sure Taro Kata would just be like,
throw it to a Stardom show, sod it. I mean, you have got the option of just doing another produce show.
It's a possibility.
You can do that.
Or you can do a historic crossover 4, buddy, and then we'll see it in May. No,
because that would mean that you would have had to have already had a historic crossover 3, and as we know, that didn't happen. So
well, what Schwarzenegger said. He always says, what everybody always says, making your first million is the hardest thing to do. So you should just make the first 2 million, and this way you avoid it. So this avoid historic crossover 3, we go to 4.
Yeah, I mean, there's a multitude of options. I mean, would it be Takeshita and Yuka Sakazaki? Would they do, I don't know, Zack Sabre Jr. and Micah or something like that, like they did at Historic Crossover? I don't know. I think the chances of them doing another Historic Crossover are very slim, with Bushiroad having no dog in the fight, so to speak, with New Japan anymore. So, it'll be interesting to see. It really will. Something else that this has given us is sad Saori Anou, and rightly so. Apparently, she was one of the first ones to know that Natsupoi considered retiring, and said that she was already sad and lonely, which is incredibly sad. She has challenged Natsupoi after the Korakuen Hall match that they had to open the show. She did ask for a singles match, giving Natsupoi her knee pad back, wrapped in. Do you see what he was wrapped in, by the way? A cloth from their 10th anniversary show. Thought that was quite cool.
Is that what it's from, the 10th anniversary?
Yeah, it's had the logo on it.
Long-term storytelling, folks. I love it.
There you go. So that, as Matt has already said, is locked in for the 23rd of August on the 5-star Grand Prix finals at Ryogoku. So we know we're getting that. Saori Anou did say backstage, I know that we've got people asking us, why is Saori Anou not in the 5-star Grand Prix? Why is Natsupoi not in the 5-star Grand Prix? This is obviously the reason Natsupoi's not in the 5-star Grand Prix. Saori Anou has also said she basically just wanted to spend the summer teaming with Natsupoi, because Natsupoi is going to retire, and absolutely fine. I mean, yeah, why not? That's a really nice way to spend the last summer wrestling with your friend. It does make me wonder, though, about what the future in Stardom holds for Saori Anou, because let's not forget, she signed, I think it was only a year deal or a 2-year deal when she originally signed to, basically, in her words, beef out Cosmic Angels, when it was literally just Tam and Natsupoi. Without Natsupoi and without Tam now, it'd be interesting to see if Saori Anou still wrestles in Stardom, or if she goes back to wrestling on the independents, wrestling for Oz Academy, wrestling basically everywhere like she did before.
I think it's a wise move for Stardom to keep her on the roster because she's great. And then I love her. That's the thing. True. Give her back up that truck of money. I mean, Stardom was making money hand over fist. Not only that, Rob, because she brought back out the nuclear finisher in
She
Korakuen Hall, which
did.
we'll get into. I was like, did I
Oh,
just see that? We haven't seen it in quite some
I
time.
have been practicing that all day, good sir.
But I mean, you look at Cosmic Angels, obviously no Tam, no Natsupoi. I love Yuna's doing great work. We're getting her stuff in the 5-star Sayaka,
Mhm.
Aya as well, all doing great work. We have Ankanai there. But Saori Anou is your big main eventer. If I'm Stardom, I'm just, what does it take to get the deal done? Like, what is you still want to go do Oz Academy, do your independence like you have been? Absolutely. But what's it going to take to keep you here to get the deal done? So that's the way that I would approach it. Because I mean, Saori Anou is a really special talent. We've been talking about it for years and years and
Mhm.
years. So I do as far as back up a second, it's just like I do how like Soriano's like, look, like I don't want to waste the little time that we have by not waste, but I don't want to be in the 5-star. Like I'd rather spend this. I can be in the 5-star next year or the year after. Like we only have a select few dates left, and I want to
Mhm.
spend a team with Natsupoi. And they're going to have great matches and maybe the best tag team in Joshi over the last 4 or 5 years. I always say maybe as far as you're just going bell to bell, as far as like catalog of great matches, as much as I love Aphrodite and as much as I love Thunder Rock, I think Saori Poi has like so many great must see tag matches, literally to the point that you
Certainly.
almost forget about it, like just an embarrassment of riches. So, arguably the greatest tag team in the history of Stardom, and again, maybe the best tag team in Joshi over the last 4 or 5 years is Saori Poi. So the fact that Soriano's like, look, I'm taking myself out of the 5-star Grand Prix, and the reason why is I want to get not only do I want to team with Natsupoi as much as I possibly can, but I want to give this to the fans. I want to give more memories of us teaming together. So it's like as much as I want to see them in the 5-star Grand Prix, if this is the reason why, not a bad consolation prize, buddy. I'll tell you that. But again, to answer your question, it's gonna be really interesting to see where they go from there. But it might be something that after Natsupoi's retirement, Soriano's like, she just kicks into another gear. She just kicks into another gear. They give her a push, whether she wins the red belt or challenges it, or she like that dominant like person that's on the top of the card. She basically says to Aya Sakura, like, you want to be the captain? Great, you're the captain. But guess what? I'm the leader now. Like she really takes the reins. Maybe we see a little bit of the Dark Ice Queen Soriano come out after Natsupoi's retirement. There's a lot they can do. It's a lot they can do where kind of like snap Soriano, and where she's playing more of an aggressive, like a tweener, kind of like Julia was when she was the leader of Donald Del Mondo. Not a heel, not a babyface. Nobody's booing her because she's fantastic, but like she's playing that role of really aggressive babyface. So there's a lot they can do with Soriano because she's really terrific in any role. It's interesting to see what happens. Obviously, not for a selfish reason. I hope she stays with Stardom for as long as humanly possible because she's fantastic and she works with so many great wrestlers in this company and so many of these wrestlers that are rookies and then in the second year and third year constantly getting better. And I want to see Soriano work with them, but only time will tell, my friend. Only time will tell.
Yeah, the only reason I say this is because again, microphone's
You're
full.
right.
Um, in terms of obviously in ring, I don't think that's an issue at all. I think if Saori Anou was happy, she stays, she wrestles, and has these phenomenal matches that we know she's capable of having. It was more a case of wrestling. You are out on the road with people, with your friends, with these people you've built relationships with, and to not have that with Natsupoi, with Tam to a lesser extent, and she's known Natsupoi for so long now, has traveled with Natsupoi for so long, both in Stardom and outside Stardom. Maybe she doesn't want to do that. Maybe she doesn't, again, nothing to do with in ring or anything like that. Maybe not even to do with money, anything like that. It could just be a case of, right, I said I would stay to help out Cosmic Angels, to help out Tam, to help out Natsupoi. Tam's not here anymore. Natsupoi's not here anymore. Aya Sakura is the captain of Cosmic Angels. They seem to be doing fine. Peace out. Obviously, I hope she does it a little bit more concisely than that. But, if that's the way she leaves Stardom, yeah, just peace out. I hope that's not the way she leaves. But I could see that potentially being something later on down the road. But again, that is 1,000% pure speculation on my part, and basically just look at the sad face that Saori Anou is pulling here. She's a sad story, okay? She's sad. However, she will be teaming with Natsupoi again sooner than you think. August 24th in Shinjuku Face. to be precise. So the full card for Sareee-ISM Chapter 11 has been announced by Sareee as she continues her one-woman push for Booker of the Year award. She's produced another absolutely sensational card for this Shinjuku Face show. Selima Sora versus Saira, Miku Kanai and Rina versus Yuka and Yuri. That's Rina, who used to be Nori, not Rina from Stardom. Veni versus Mirai. Chi-Chi versus Senka Akatsuki. Okay. And then Sareee and Takumi Iroha. Spark Rush against Saori-Poi. I mean, obviously, and don't forget, this is the day after Natsupoi versus Saori Anou in Ryogoku.
Not only that, but it's the 5-star Grand Prix final. It's not like, oh, it's just a special show for this. It's no, we still have the 2 semifinals, the finals. So there's 4 matches that are going to be really, really great. Possibly some title matches on there again because it's Sumo Hall and they want to do 8 to 10,000 people. And then if that's not enough, we got this show like 24 hours later. And then a handful of hours later, I'm flying over to go hang out with you, buddy. Life is good. It's life is good, buddy. Life is good being Mr. Tuesday night.
Mr. Tuesday night. I love it. But yeah, this match is going to absolutely rock. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's got a hell of a catalogue of main events to live up to because Sareee-ISM always seems to produce these ridiculous main events. But this has the potential to be right up there as one of the best that they are going to do. And we need to talk about Spark Rush as well, because between Spark Rush versus Mayu and Victoria Yuzuki, which we've now coming up at the start of this month, start of August, good Lord, man. Good Lord, man. What a team. Just want to point out that there's absolutely no way that team is breaking up on the 8th of August, which they've already threatened should they lose their matches, considering Spark Rush have now been booked for 2 more matches.
Not only that, Rob, they just announced, I think it was either yesterday or today, they're starting their own YouTube channel.
Yes, then, I did see that. Yeah.
And then somebody said to Sareee, like, aren't you in a match coming up on the 8th where Senka, it's for Marvelous, Senka's wrestling Takumi Roha and Saree's wrestling Miyamoto? Boy, howdy, can't wait to watch that. And if one of you guys lose, you're going to break up. Why are you starting a YouTube channel? And then Saree's like, yeah, we'll just take the YouTube channel down to Takumi Roha. I was like, wait, what? We have like, you can just see like the wheels in her hair and her head are like, we're probably doing all this production. We're probably doing like, what's happening? So yeah, I don't foresee a breakup there. By the way, I do want to give a cheap plug for us over at Talk Joshi for Tag Team Spotlight coming up in the next handful of weeks. Thanks to everybody that voted it is Spark Rush. So that's
unsurprisingly.
Yeah. I guess we got to do it. I guess we got to do it. But Sareee, obviously we missed Sareee. We thought she was going to be in the Owen. We thought we were going to get that dream match with her and Athena. Obviously she took time off because of her neck injury. She's coming back with an absolute bang. Obviously we'll cover it on the Marigold Standard next week. That main event in Korakuen Hall with her and Chi-Chi versus Miko Ano and Kamo Manami. That was fantastic. And then, yes, if that's not enough, and then we got Spark Rush, you're absolutely right, taking on Mayu and Victoria Yuzuki. But then, then we have, again, Spark Rush, maybe the tag team of the year in all of wrestling, taking on, again, as I mentioned it, probably the best tag team in all of Joshi, maybe all of wrestling the last 4 or 5 years in Saori-Poi. Boy, howdy. I mean, the whole card looks great, but this, I tell you, when Sareee-ISM on the tag, obviously she's had those great singles matches with Chiro Hashimoto, with Shiri, but the tag stuff has been phenomenal. I just recently watched Sareee and Kairi. That's why I came with that dream match. Sareee and Kairi versus Takumi Roha and Arisa Nakajima. That was phenomenal. Don't forget, when we had Sareee and Natsupoi versus Azumi and Takumi Roha, we also had Sareee and Mayu versus Veni and Chiro Hashimoto. And then we had Spark Rush versus Tora and Saya Kamitani as well. So these tag matches on the main event of Sareee-ISM, some of the best tag matches you'll ever see. And you're absolutely right, buddy. This match has a lot to live up to with those tag matches, the main event. I would not be shocked that when I get off the plane to see you in England, when Kirsty and Amber are exchanging chicken parm recipes, we're like, that was the best Sareee-ISM match ever. I'm like, I know. Let the boys be boys. Let the boys be boys. Like as I said, slam. Dun, dun, let the boys be
to boys. Be fair, maybe we should do a watch along on our Patreon.
I am absolutely down with that. We'll get some Patient Number 9 beers, which I know just came out.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely. We'll
All
get
for it,
absolutely hammered, and obviously we'll have some water for the hydration. That's
of course.
key. It's key. Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
all for that, buddy. Very much like you fantastic voters over there on Talk Joshi. Twist my arm and make me watch more Spark Rust matches. I guess somebody's got to do it. It's got to be us, buddy.
Absolutely. Someone does have to do this. Again, sticking with Natsupoi, it seems to be the Natsupoi cast today. Obviously, we were last week waxing lyrical about how good her match was with Saori for the IWGP Women's Championship. It was a sentiment shared by pretty much everyone that watched it, and it was a sentiment shared by the Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer, who finally watched a Stardom match and gave it 5 stars. The coveted 5 stars, no less, the first Stardom match to gain 5 stars since the Artist of Stardom Championship match last year between Cosmic Angels and Neo Genesis. So again, a fantastic. And again, we talked earlier about Natsupoi still being able to go and leaving, arguably at the peak of her powers. This really does go to show it. And also, dude, Saori is so good. Like, she's so almost under the radar consistent. Like, we talk all the time about, the bombast around like Starlight Kid and Kamitani and Mayu and, all these people who have in your face great matches. Saori consistently has absolutely outstanding matches to the point where it's not even a question anymore of if it's going to be outstanding. I mean, look at her match with Rini Yamashita. I went into that with really high expectations, blew my expectations out of the water. Megan Bain had a tremendous match with Megan Bain. Again, whoever she's put in the ring with, she just has outstanding matches. I think personally, and again, I know that the Wrestling Observer is one person's opinion and really shouldn't be the bone of contention. It is, but it still boggles my mind that match with Mayu didn't get 5 stars. The one where
Also, Grand Queendom was one of the best matches I've ever. One of the best.
No, I'm not talking about that one. Not talking about that one. I'm talking about the Atenyon Stardom Gate.
Oh yeah, that one was almost as good as that. Yeah,
and Dave basically said that he wasn't going to give it 5 stars because of the shoot headbutts, and then gave a John Moxley one 5 stars a month later, and he was shoot headbutting someone, and everyone just kind of went, "We do it, Dave." But again, who cares? But I just thought it was a really nice accolade for Natsupoi to have on her way, sort of on the road towards her retirement. And again, some more acknowledgement for just how good she is as a singles competitor. Because again, she pulled out all the stops in that match. The emotion that she was drawing out of that match was truly outstanding.
Yeah, you just to touch real quick on Sherry. Yeah, when you mentioned a few minutes ago, like, is Natsupoi in your top 5, 10, or 20, and I was going through the names, and I mentioned Sherry. Sherry's probably in my top 5 all time in Stardom. I think she's in the mix with the Mayus, the Kamatani, and obviously Mayu and Io no longer in Stardom, obviously, but Sherry and Kamatani are, so they're going to keep adding to what they have going on. And by the way, our Sherry and Vert Vixen coming out for New Texas Pro, so I'm really excited about that. So Sherry's just on a course to dominate over here in the United States. But yeah, great match. Natsupoi, fantastic. Sherry, fantastic. Just fantastic wrestling from the world of Joshi Pro Wrestling, my friend.
Final thing that we just want to talk about is that Worldwide Hazuki continues her US expedition tonight as we record July 30th on a special episode of AEW Collision where she will be teaming with the Brawling Birds. Jamie Hayter, don't know why I couldn't remember her name then. I was like, Jamie Hayter and, oh my God, Alex Windsor. Jesus. Against Athena.
Jesus
Billy
isn't in that team, buddy.
No,
Jesus is in that team.
Athena, Billy Starks, and Diamante. Again on a special broadcast night of Thursday the 30th. Should be great. Should be really good, Matt.
Yeah, Rob, I watched a little bit of AEW last night. It was really great. And the next thing I know, Amber's like, go to bed. And I'm like, what happened? Like, you fell asleep? Like, no, I didn't. But I did see this great promo with the Brawling Birds calling out Divine Dominion. My guess, and I'm going to throw it to you, all in, I think that's going to be the match. I think the Brawling Birds take the titles. Let's say you, my friend. I think that would be a great way in Wembley to have the husband and wife duo walk out of that stadium. I can't even say building, that stadium as champions. I think that's the way to go at All In. Again, let's say you, buddy.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that would be the sensible direction to go. And maybe the match we get is Alex Windsor and Will Ospreay versus Shingo and Natsupoi.
Yeah, because that would
just putting that out into the universe.
Yeah, they have a husband and wife duo. So either that, Takeshita, Yuka, or me and Amber. Those are the three options.
Is that the Four Corners ladder match? Is it?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. What are some other good husbands? Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, CM Punk, AJ Lee. Obviously, those can't happen, but I'm just kind of going through everything in my head.
I'm just trying to think now. Is there anybody? EO and Evil, obviously.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The most suave man you ever met.
Oh my God. He is a beautiful man. Like, legit, EO is not good enough for that man.
Stop. How dare you, sir? How dare you? But yeah, I'm really excited. I didn't know this was tonight until you mentioned it beforehand. So I will probably be watching that match after dinner and after I rewatch that fantastic main event from Marigold earlier on today.
Yeah, I just want to apologize to both Jamie Hayter and Alex Windsor. It's like, genuinely, my brain just malfunctioned.
There's a lot going on with Natsupoi. It's the Natsupoi cast. So if you're not named Natsupoi, you give Rob a mulligan. He'll get you next week.
I got you. Let's start talking about these 5-star Grand Prix shows then, because we have got 3 to get through. Night 4 took place on the 25th of July inside the Ishikawa Industrial Exhibition Hall in Ishikawa. The attendance, 581 people. Now, this appears to be the first time the company have run the venue, with the mainly running the Kanazawa Distribution Hall when in Ishikawa previously. However, the number is still the highest the company have achieved in Ishikawa, beating out the previous best of 502 by 15.74%. So a great number and a really cool venue with a really interesting look with the way that the staircases were and the fact that you could see all around the building into different rooms and stuff like that. Very interesting look for this show. Again, I will just point out where there are cards, where there were other matches, we're not going to talk about those other matches. We are solely focusing on the 5-star Grand Prix matches. So I know there was a tag team match with Hannah and Matoi versus Ann and Emma. We're not going to be talking about that, which allows Matt to give you his sensual match rating. And we've already talked, obviously, about the fallout of the Natsupoi and Saori Anou 6-woman tag at Korakuen as well. We opened this show with a 5-star Grand Prix match. Red Stars A, Rina moving to 2 points, defeating Akira Kuragane, who stays on 0 with the Hydrangea in 9 minutes and 21 seconds. Red Stars B, Rina Yamashita moves to 5 points, defeating Lady C, who stays on 0 with the implant in 7 minutes and 3 seconds. Red Stars A, Itsuki Aoki moves to 4 points, defeating Natsuko Tora, who stays on 0 with the Jinrin 2 in 7 minutes and 3 seconds. Red Stars B, Maika moved to 4 points, defeating Sayaka Kurara, who it turned out was injured in that match with Tomoka Inaba. She remains on 4 points. Maika submitting her with the cross arm breaker in 6 minutes and 1 second. Matt, I hope you're ready. Tag team match. The Stars team of Hanan and Matoi Hamabe defeated Ann Kanai and Emma Maishima. Hanan pinning Ann Kanai with the blockbuster in 8 minutes and 38 seconds.
4 stars.
All the rest now are 5-star Grand Prix matches. Red Stars B, Azusa Inaba moves to 2 points, defeating Utami Hayashishita, who stays on 1 with the Baba Killer number 2 in 9 minutes and 13 seconds. Red Stars A, Azumi moves to 2 points, defeating Tomoka Inaba with the Azumi Sushi in 9 minutes and 5 seconds. Red Stars B, Konami moves to 2 points, defeating Meisera, who stays on 2 points, submitting her with the Triangle Lancer in 11 minutes and 22 seconds. And then in your main event, Red Stars B action, Saya Ida moves to 6 points, the top of Red Stars B, by defeating Maki Ito, who stays on 2, with the vertical drop brainbuster. Now, Matt, this is the moment of truth where hopefully I have put the slides in the right order, which was the menace of last week. And so far, so good. Rina and Akira Kuragane. One of the things, and I think I mentioned this last week, that I do love about singles tournaments is that you get to hear everybody's individual music. And I genuinely forget every time just how good Akira Kuragane's music is. This match, though, her and Rina, I thought was really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, fantastic. Akira really brought it, and Rina, again, only 19 years old, knows how to take somebody kind of on the bottom of the card and make them look like they can belong. And that is an art form in itself. There's a couple times here that like it looked like Akira was going to get the win, and even the crowd, they were biting on a lot of the finishes. Real quick, buddy, I know that you may forget, so if I interrupt you at the end, I apologize. But at the end of each show, we will have to go over the predictions league between myself and my wife. You could probably tell by the smile on my face. It's pretty good week for it was a combination of a good week for me and a bad week for Amber, at least when it comes to that. Anywho, back to the match we go. Akira with a Gamagiri, the half house suplex for a 2 count, crossface. Akira locking in that crossface, like the way that Rina was selling it, really showing a lot of panic, really putting over that high power offense of Akira. Eventually, Rina comes back with the big boot and the hydrangea bomb, and then locking in the hydrangea, forcing the tap out. Almost 10 minutes. I thought this was a great amount of time for these two to start off with a hot opener, Rob. And this was a hot opener. 4 stars for me. I thought this was fantastic.
Yeah, really enjoyable. And again, we know that Akira Kuragane is probably not going to pick up any points at all over the course of this tournament. It's matches like this that are going to benefit her massively in the long run. Dude, poor Lady C. Like, she's having such a terrible July after it starting out so well, winning her first championship in Stardom. The championship is ripped away by the Triangle of Madness, and now she loses in her first 2 matches of the 5-star Grand Prix, losing to Rina Yamashita here. But Rina Yamashita continues to impress over the course of this tournament with another great showing here.
Yeah, I know a lot of people so far, 6 shows in, have Rina as the MVP.
She's
So far of this tournament. And it's tough. Me and you were texting the other day. I'm like, who's the possible MVP of this tournament so far? I mean, it's one between like any 8 people. But yeah, but Lady C, yeah, my wife's sentimental pick. She lost a lot of points this weekend betting on Lady C. And she's like, why are they having her lose? Regardless, but this was great. I wish this match would have went longer. That's my really only gripe with this match. 7 minutes, but these two did not waste any time. I mean, these two, great chain wrestling to begin with, and then the chops, the forearms, and the boots fly. Like, these two were really laying into each other. Some really fantastic hard-hitting action. Lady C hits a big boot and a huge choke slam for a 2 count. And then she goes for another choke slam, but Rina blocks that, hits a big German suplex and an enziguri for a 2 count. Lady C is able to get a roll up for a 2.9 count. And then Rina comes back with a huge lariat, and then her version of the B driver for the 3 count. 3 3/4 stars. Again, just a touch over 7 minutes. Had this got 8.5. I think this would have easily cracked the 4-star mark, at least for me. But I love this. I know when we did our giant primer, I was like, this was one of the matches I was really looking forward to. And again, this one delivered, but I understand sometimes on a show with 9 matches that you have to cut back on time. Unfortunately, I think this was one of the ones that they did. But I thought what they did with the 7 minutes, I thought was just really great storytelling and some beautiful violence, my friend, which is always fun to see.
I think you can probably say about the cutting of the time for the next 2 as well, because I felt the exact same about this match, Suzuki Aoki and Natsuko Tora, because actually I felt the match had just started to get going when Aoki got the roll up and rolled through for the victory. It was still a good match, and I still really enjoyed it, but I thought, especially because other matches that we're going to be talking about with Itsuki Aoki, that great match at Korakuen with Sayaka Kurara, where the hell did that match come from? I don't know. I don't know if I expected more from this match or not, and I think it might have been because of the time constraints.
Yeah, you kind of figured with these two kind of having that brawling style, and it's Hate versus Mila Vita Loki, you figured they would have spent a little bit of time outside the ring, and really didn't. But still was a great pro wrestling match. Start off with a tackle off between the two and then a forearm. It's kind of like who's going to budge first. It's just like Tora's not going to intimidate Aoki, and Aoki's not going to intimidate Tora. So these two are just in each other's face. But yeah, you're right. It was just as the match was getting going, Tora hits the DVD, misses the swanton, and Aoki's able to roll up Natsuko Tora. And again, match only got about 7 minutes. Still really enjoyed it. 3 3/4 stars. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Kind of match 2, 3, and 4, I think suffered from being undercut from taking minutes away, but by no means any of these wrestlers give any less than an A+ effort. Because again, still thoroughly enjoyed this match. It was a great hard hitting Joshi Pro style match. Give it another minute and a half, and I think it would have really hit that another level. But at the same time, the psychology makes sense. Tora hits the DVD, misses the swanton, and Aoki's like, I need 2 points. Does that great straight jacket roll up for the 3 count. So the finish made sense. And again, still really enjoyed it. 3 3/4 stars for me.
Right, I'm going to eat some crow here. I do just want to preface this by saying I have never said Sayaka Kurara is a bad wrestler at all. I think she's a very good wrestler. My only complaint with Sayaka Kurara is that I don't think she should have had the red belt, and I do stand by that. However, what a tournament she is having. Like, absolute killer main event against Rina. Admittedly, suffered an injury in the Tomoka Inaba match. I don't know how serious the injury was. I think it was more precautionary, but she did get rocked by that knee to the face. And then here had a great 6-minute sprint before having another great match against Itsuki Aoki. She really is coming into her own over the course of this year. That match with Suzu Suzuki at the Conversion was tremendous. Her match against Maki Ito completely surpassed my expectations. So yes, I stand by I don't think she should have been red belt champion. But her in-ring, I think it's irrefutable just how good she is becoming and how quickly she is developing, Matt.
Yeah, and I'll kind of back you up on that just because of like Starlight Kid's never won the red belt. Hazuki's never won the red belt. Azumi hasn't won the and obviously these
Momo
are
Watanabe.
Momo Watanabe, that's obviously the big one. And obviously there's a possibility of any of those wrestlers winning because they're still in Stardom and they're still fantastic. But at the same time, she won the belt before that. But regardless, again, having great matches. You know, her run in the when she won the Cinderella tournament was great. Her run in this year's Cinderella tournament, even though she didn't win, was fantastic. Has great matches. And kind of like when Suzu beat her for the belt at the Conversion, I was like, okay, they're going to use the 5-star as a redemption arc. And they definitely are from a match quality perspective. She is eating a lot of L's. She's going to have very much like Utami, which we'll get into, a lot of makeup to do. We're about halfway through this tournament before we get into that big playoff show in Korakuen Hall. A lot of win. I mean, I don't think she can afford a draw. I don't think she can afford a pinfall loss.
She can't afford to drop another point.
So, and she's going to need some help. So we'll see how this plays out, which is always the fun of the 5-star Grand Prix. It really puts more emphasis on like they need a win. They need to win. Like I remember in 2022, we all knew Julie was going to win, but about halfway through, we're like, boy, she really needs to start picking up some points here. And a lot of those matches, they came razor thin to her losing a match, thus ousting for the tournament. Obviously, she goes on to win the tournament, and it's still, in my opinion, the greatest 5-star Grand Prix of all time in 2022. And that's kind of like what's going on with Sayaka Kurara and Utami, and we'll see how their tournament plays out. But yeah, this was a great sprint. This was fantastic. This was basically all killer, no filler. And I liked Micah working the arm. Anytime Sayaka Kurara got the advantage, Micah goes back to that judo background, which I don't think it's played off enough that Micah's legit shooter. Like Micah legit knows how to handle herself, does the arm out judo throw, is able to go into the cross arm breaker, working over the arm of Sayaka Kurara. And we've seen Micah win a lot of matches with the Mijinoko driver, the top rope Mijinoko driver, and obviously the hammerlock Mijinoko driver. Every now and again, she would win a match with the Kata Hajime, also known for ECW fans as the Taz Mission. But her working over the arm and then going back to the arm for the finish, I thought was absolutely brilliant. 6 minutes, I really enjoyed this. You would have told me it only got 6 minutes, I would have been like, oh man. But the 6 minutes they did, they really filled every second. They did not waste a moment in the ring. They told a great story. Even though Sayaka gets the loss, she comes out of here looking like somebody that like was really fighting through the pain of that cross arm breaker when eventually got to be just too much and she had to tap out. 3 3/4 stars for me. I thought both these wrestlers looked great. And Micah continued to roll on with great matches and wins in the 5-star Grand Prix.
We move on then to arguably the first really, really big shock of this tournament in Azusa Inaba getting the win over Utami. Now, I know obviously it's with her roll-up variation, but even so, prior to that, Azusa Inaba was standing toe-to-toe with Utami. Now, obviously, as the match wore on, Utami was becoming more dominant through her power advantage. But Azusa Inaba, again, in terms of breakout performances throughout this tournament, we've talked about Rina Yamashita potentially being an MVP. I think there is certainly a case for Sayaka Kurara as well. Izuki Aoki, I think, has been tremendous. But in terms of breakout, Matt, you put it spot on in the text you sent to me. I think you are hard-pressed to beat anyone other than Azusa Inaba.
Yeah, I think last year was Rina. Obviously, she made it to the semifinals in her first ever 5-star Grand Prix, which I believe she was only 18 entering that tournament. And Azusa Inaba, I mean, not only having great matches, but picking up a win over a former winner of this tournament, a former World of Stardom champion over 400 days, excuse me. Maika was champion. Maika's big return to the company. Obviously, a lot more eyes now on Stardom. You thought this would be not an easy 2 points, but you figured out this will be one that you get the prediction right. Obviously, I think majority of us got it wrong, which is the fun of the 5-star Grand Prix, because you never know when a roll-up can happen. So I like how you get the great chain wrestling to start. Utami just using those shoulder tackles to overpower Rina. Then Utami goes go off the rope, Rob, and all of a sudden, her face is on the canvas. What happened? Oh, it's a match with hate. Rina, speaking of Rina, tripped up Utami, or in the words of Bobby the Brain Heenan, something fell into the ring and she was trying to get a fan through something in the ring and she tried to get out.
It's only fair, isn't it?
It's not Utami's fault that she tripped over. She tripped over Rina's hand. That opens up the door for Rina to start building a little bit of heat on Utami with those boot scrapes, those kicks. We talk about all the time, like those Tomoka Inaba kicks, they can break human bone. And we'll get into the Tomoka Inaba Maika match in a moment here. But Azusa Inaba, her kicks, they've always been good, but she's really putting some extra power into them as of late and really laying into Utami. We go back and forth here with Utami with the German suplex, and then we get a German suplex exchange between the two. I mean, this thing's just really going to another level. Azusa Inaba drops Utami with a pump kick and then a half-house suplex, scoring Azusa a 2 count. Azusa, another German suplex, because we need more German suplexes in this match in the best way possible. I mean, we literally match 6 on this card. We're just dropping each other on their heads because this tournament is fantastic. Utami hits a big lariat, and then Utami goes for, and Utami, that lariat, she's really throwing some of these lariats. I mean, the ones she's throwing on Saida, and again, we'll get into that, like, yowzers. She uses that lariat to go for the torture rack bomb. However, Azusa Inaba gets out of it and then trips up Utami with the Baba Killer number 2. Great match, great ending. And I like how these main eventers, you can get, all it takes is 3 seconds. That's all it takes is 3 seconds, and they get tripped up, and then Azusa with the roll up for the 3 count, 4.25 stars. A fantastic match, another fantastic showing from Utami, and Azusa Inaba really showing that in a company like Stardom with a bunch of main eventers, maybe in a year and a half, she can prime to be a main eventer. The potential for her is absolutely limitless, my friend. Again, 4.25 stars. I thought this match was absolutely brilliant.
This was certainly one that was circled by both of us on the 5-star Grand Prix calendar. Azumi and Tomoka Inaba, they have a great deal of 5-star Grand Prix history from the past 2 years. How did this match, Matt, stack up against those previous matches that they've had?
My favorite one so far, because they're going to get better. Again, I know Azumi's only had a handful of matches, not as much as Rina Yamashita or Azusa Aoki, but she's, man, what a special talent. You know, we talked about that Maika match. This match here was phenomenal. This is one of probably I think this might be my top 5 favorite Grand Prix matches so far. But like, Tomoka Inaba really fighting with urgency. And we mentioned that last week. There's something special. They're doing something with Tomoka Inaba's road here in the 5-star Grand Prix. Something really interesting. And again, the Maika match, literally match 1 on the second night, which we'll get into, started off with like, oh, okay. And this one here, as soon as the bell rings, Tomoka Inaba with a pump kick, form exchange between the two. Azumi uses that high-speed style to get the advantage here. We get a snap kick exchanges between the two. Then we go to the outside. Tomoka Inaba tries the apron penalty kick. However, Azumi blocks the apron penalty kick, is able to sweep sweeps Tomoka. Tomoka eats the apron. Then Azumi hits the head kick while Tomoka is on the apron. And if that's not violent enough, we get a head kick exchange and then a forearm exchange, and then we get a suplex exchange on the floor. It's like, this one's not letting up. And then finally we get in the ring. We're able to breathe a little bit. We get some of the selling, and then now we kick in to another gear here as we get Azusa with a pump knee. Azumi comes back with a La Mystica and a top rope double stomp for a 2 count. And then Azumi hits a head kick and a German suplex. That scores Azumi a 2 count. Azumi goes off the ropes, maybe looking for the La Mystica, Rob. We'll never know, because what happens is Azusa pops up Azumi. On the way down, she hits that spin kick that I don't know how she hits that without either completely whiffing or completely knocking somebody out. But like the precision and the beauty and the violence of it is really something special. And Azumi sells it like it's game over. However, Azumi's able to kick out at 2.9. Tomoka Inaba hits this gourd buster, and I love this combination because she hits the gourd buster and her opponent takes the face bump. And when they take the face bump, they have to come up by feeding the head. And then Tomoka Inaba is like, I may as well take your head off, and hits the head kick. Brilliantly done. It's such a brilliant spot that Tomoka Inaba does. Inaba hits the, Azumi slips out of the Inaba drop, hits the leg sweep, and then stacks up Tomoka for a 2.9 count. Azumi then comes back with a head kick destroyer and Azumi Sushi, putting away Tomoka Inaba. 4.5 stars. This is phenomenal. Again, put these two on the list of MVPs of this tournament, along with about half the other wrestlers in this tournament. This tournament has been so good in just 4 or 5 shows. Again, on pace to be one of the best ever. And these two are just really, truly special talents. Again, 4.5 stars. I thought this was just absolutely brilliant and just a perfect match. You had the high speed, you had the hard hitting, you had the great selling. You didn't know which way it was going to go. Ultimately, it is just Azumi using her experience to stack the head kick into the destroyer, into the Azumi Sushi that gets the win and then moves her into 2 more points in her block.
Semi-main event, Matt, and I feel like we unfortunately have imparted some sort of unintentional curse on Mei Seira. It starts with this loss here, and unfortunately continues into the next match where she can't get the business done against Azusa. And obviously both of us have her going through, which means that she will undoubtedly not go through. However, this match, it feels very much like a rebrand for Konami. Great new gear, new colored hair, looking great. And something that I said last week about Mei Seira was she's very clearly in line for a white belt shot, possibly in line for a red belt shot. A lot of what this tournament is going to be, at least in my eyes, is going to be how is Mei Seira going to stand up against different styles of opponents, not just the great high speed matches that we know she can have against the likes of, an Azumi or a Yuna Mizumori, for example. And here I thought she did very, very well against a heavily submission and strike based opponent in Konami.
Yeah, we mentioned when we did our primer, like this is going to be Konami's coming in with a chip on her shoulder. Had a great run as Wonder of Stardom champion. They clearly built her up to lose to Hanan, which that's what you want with your heel and your babyface, and it worked because obviously it sold over 8,000 tickets. So clearly that works. So it's like, where do you go, Konami, from here? And it's like, well, obviously she's got to have a whole bunch of singles matches in the 5-star Grand Prix. How's her performance going to be? And again, Konami, low-key MVP of this tournament just far. These two different styles. You have the high speed versus the hard hitting. I like how Mei Seira is trying to use her high speed early on, and Konami's just waiting for it. Like she's just waiting to get her timing down, and she does with one kick and slows Mei Seira down. Starts working over the arm. Then Mei Seira is able to get that advantage where she jumps off. She runs onto the second rope, one leap, one legged Joshi style dropkick, and then we see Mei Seira starting to build her offense onto Konami. She tries to go for it again, but Konami, too much of a veteran, understands like I can't fall for the same trick twice. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Konami just shoves Mei Seira. Mei Seira takes this tumbling bump. It looks like she's flailing. Like just takes this bump where she hits the apron and then hits the floor. It's like, wowzers, okay. And then Konami follows Mei Seira out to the floor. Obviously, Konami's going to have the advantage on the floor. Start just pasting Mei Seira with strikes, forearms, kicks, sends Mei Seira into the chairs. Back in the ring we go. Konami hits a German suplex and then locks in the triangle answer. But Mei Seira uses Konami's own momentum against her and then stacks Konami up. Gets a 2.9. A lot of people bid on that for possibly being the finish. Mei Seira then comes back with a huge running dropkick in the goodbye peace power bomb, which I don't think we see enough of. Just a really beautifully executed move from Mei Seira. That scores Mei a 2 count. Mei Seira then goes for the checkmate, Rob. You know what's going to happen.
Always comes up short. Never hits it.
Rob, I'll say this. I mentioned about Patreon episode. Somebody put the checkmate in there, and I'm like, when she hits it, it's beautiful. It's very rare that we see the checkmate.
It is beautiful when it happens. It's like seeing Halley's Comet. When it happens, it's incredible, but it just never happens.
So Mei Sareee goes for the checkmate, and what does Konami do? She blocks it and then goes into the Fujiwara armbar. You're like, you literally gave her the weapon she's been using the whole match, Mei Sareee. Again, that just goes to show you the IQ wrestler that is Konami. Konami then with a buzzsaw kick, and then Mei dodges PK with a roll up for a 2.9 count, and then Konami hits a buzzsaw kick, hits the punt kick, and then locks in the. I love this transition. Locks in the double wrist lock, and as Mei Sareee is trying to get out, Konami's able to adjust Mei Sareee and her own body to go back to the triangle answer, forcing the tap out. 4.5 stars for me, buddy. I love this match. You have two completely different styles, and eventually it's just counter wrestling between the two. And it's just Konami using her experience and her breaking down the arm in certain parts of the match that eventually opens up for the double wrist lock into the triangle answer. This was just great. All sorts of just fantastic wrestling between these two.
Completely agree. Completely agree. So, sort of looking at Red Stars Red Stars B. We've now seen everyone in action. Obviously, we've seen a lot of people with multiple matches, especially on the Red Stars side. Blue Stars, I think, are still technically only on their 4th night. Do you think Konami goes through? Have you seen anything to change your mind?
I'm going to stick with my guns. The only thing, Rob, that I'm thinking maybe Atsuki Aoki might be going through because she has to pull a reverse Utami and a reverse Sakura where she's got to lose quite a bit, and then a lot of other people need to win because the way it has it stacked. But I mean, it is a possibility that you do send Konami through because people will pay money in Korakuen Hall, which I think that show's just about sold out anyway. But people will pay money in Korakuen Hall to see Konami lose because she's such a great heel. So, and she's a phenomenal wrestler. Like, as much as we liked her stuff in God's Eye, she's a better heel. Very much like B. Priestley. B. Priestley's a really good face, but she just feels more comfortable in her skin being a heel. And then when she does the spray paint thing on the picture and then rubs it in your face, like, you just want to just punch her in the mouth. But a lot of people can't, Rob. A lot of people can't because Konami is a legit badass. So I don't see her going through. Would I be upset? I wouldn't be upset if anybody goes through at this point. This tournament's been so good that I'm just like, whatever you're going to give me, Stardom, I'm here for it. Just tell me where I need to be, and just as long as I get the point advantage, then I'm good to go. But no, but let's say you, buddy. What are you thinking as we're about halfway through this tournament? Is there anybody that you're kind of seeing you have predicted that you think may be going through?
Well, Sayaka Kurara, I didn't predict going through, and then she won a couple of matches, and I was like, I think I've made a mistake here. And now obviously needs something short of a miracle to make it through the block. Itsuki Aoki, I think, is obviously, she's now 4-0 in the block, which means that she'd have to do something spectacularly wrong. Again, she's almost the reverse Sayaka Kurara. In terms of Konami is 3-0. She's 6 points. 6 points historically in this format of the tournament hasn't quite been enough to go through, I don't think. Maybe the odd 3rd place. I think if she picks up another point, she's going to be very, very difficult to bet against. Obviously, Utami's in all sorts of trouble at the moment, though I fully anticipate her sort of upsetting the odds, rallying and making it through on the final night. I think Mei Sareee is in a lot of trouble as well after a solid start against Rini Yamashita. We'll see. I think losses against Maki Ito and Konami are really going to hamper Mei Sareee because it's going to be those that she needs those tiebreakers for. Speaking of Maki Ito, unfortunately, if you're Maki Ito fans, of course, she came out on the losing side against Saori. But what I've liked about Maki Ito here is a lot of what Maki's been doing since her Stardom signing is character work, is a lot of, not necessarily just comedy, but a lot of character work with the likes of Aya Sakura, with the likes of the Ito Respect Army, Kikyo Furusawa and Rian. But we're seeing quite a large breadth of what she can do here. So even though against Rina Yamashita, it was a completely different style of match to this one. And then again, a different style of match to the Lady C one. I think we are seeing that she can go in the ring. And this partnership with Saori, me personally, I feel that really accented that.
Yeah, she really has. Like before she signed with Stardom, majority of me watching her was like on the independents over here in the States and some of the stuff she was doing on AEW where she leaned in the comedy side. Now that I've been diving head deep into Tokyo Joshi Pro stuff, I go back and watch some of her big main event matches, whether teaming with Miyu Yamashita or against Miyu Yamashita or matches with Miyu Watanabe, Shoko Nakajima. Maki Ito is a very underrated wrestler. And we're seeing a lot of, and I think she even said in an interview, like she needed up her wrestling game because Stardom is kind of, for the lack of a better term, kind of a work rate Joshi promotion. And she's massively over. She's one of the most over characters in the company because she connects with the fan. Obviously, she's got that great theme song that Rob absolutely loves.
I do. I can't even deny it. It's incredible.
Yeah, and then actually, if you go on Apple Music and type in Maki Ito, there's another song that she has. I think it's the one that she was coming out to towards the end of her Tokyo Joshi Pro theme, which is, I'm not gonna say it's as catchy, but it's right there, Rob. It's right there. So I think you might enjoy that one. And I enjoyed this match. I enjoyed Maki Ito trying to go toe to toe with Saida. She did her best because there was a form and chop exchange where Ito was really, really going towards Saida. Saida does such a great job selling, like absorbing a blow. Like when she gets hit and gets hit hard, she'll sell and she'll turn. And when she turns, she looks at the crowd and she kind of squats down. And we've all been there, whether we've been hit or we stubbed a toe. You're just like, you turn away and like, oh, that stinks. And then you're just, or that stings. And you're just like, your face is like, you're all ticked off. And you can see Saida. And then Saida just, the way she sells to the crowd, and the crowd's just like, I like Maki Ito. But man, I really want to see Saida get her comeback here on said person. Like Saida's selling, I think, is so underrated. And the way that she does her comeback and fires it back, it's like, I know she's not the biggest person, but she wrestles like she's 7'4", and it's believable because of the tackles and the forearms and the firing up and the crowd psychology. They had two fan favorites here for two different reasons, but they really made it work. Eventually, towards the end, Ito hits the big lariat. Maki Ito does a great job working over the knee into the Ito Deluxe onto one Saida. Saida sells out of that, but again, hits the lariat and the sheer drop brain buster for the 3 count. I just at 4 stars. I thought this was a really great match to end the show. There was just so many of the great matches that happened before it, but still, I thought this was great and a really cool main event spot for Saida and Maki Ito, considering of all the great wrestling we've seen. They ended it with this match. Again, thoroughly enjoyed it. 4 stars for me.
It was a great way to close out the show, certainly. And that moved us into the show from Jiu-Jitsu Night 5 on the 26th.
Not yet. Speaking of 5.
Oh, damn it.
Matt Turner with 5. Amber with 5. So we tied there. However, 21 for me, 18 for my blue ribbon winning wife. So even though we tied there, she did not make up any ground, my friend.
I love the fact how smug you are about this. It really makes me laugh. This time we can move on to night 5 of the tournament, 26th of July from Gio Sarazo in Joetsu in Nagata. 542 the attendance, an astonishing 30.6% increase on the company's previous house at the venue, which was 415 on the 13th of October last year. Makes it the second highest attendance for Stardom at the venue of the 6 shows they ran there, only below the 602 they drew back in February of 2023. All of these matches, by the way, are 5-star Grand Prix matches. So we'll delve straight into it. We open with Red Stars A action. Maika moving to 4 points, defeating Tomoka Inaba, who remains on 4 with the Michinoku driver 2 in 8 minutes and 3 seconds. Red Stars B, Konami moved to 4 points, defeating Lady C, who stays on 0 with a punt kick in 8 minutes and 29 seconds. Red Stars A, all hate affair. Natsuko Tora picks up her first win of the tournament, moving to 2 points, defeating Rina, who stays on 2 points, hitting Swanton Bomb in 10 minutes and 54 seconds. Red Stars A, Azumi moves to 4 points, defeating Sayaka Karara, who stays on 4 with the Azumi Sushi in quick action, 3 minutes and 2 seconds there. Red Stars B, Mei Seira and Azusa Inaba both move to 3 points with a 15-minute time limit draw. Red Stars A, it's all Mi Vida Loca. It's Suki Aoki moves to 6 points, defeating Akira Korakuen, who stays on 0. It's Suki Aoki pinning Akira with the Rasha scissors in 11 minutes and 2 seconds. Red Stars B, Rini Yamashita moves to 6 points, Maki Ito to 3, when their match ended in a double countout in 12 minutes and 44 seconds, with that very literally only telling half the story. And then in your main event, Utami Hayashishita picks up her first victory of the tournament, moving to 3 points, defeating Saori, who stays on 6, pinning her with the BT bomb in 13 minutes and 45 seconds. Matt, you mentioned that the company are doing something with Tomoka Inaba, whether it is just a slight character shift, whether it is a sort of increase in her intensity. We saw it in the opening night when she refused to shake Itsuki Aoki's hand. We saw it with the aggression in the Izumi match. Here, Maika didn't even make it down the ramp before Tomoka Inaba confronted her. Obviously, there is a significant history there dating back to JTO and Taka Michinoku and Tomoka Inaba's feelings that Maika will always be Taka Michinoku's favorite until Tomoka can surpass her. Unfortunately, that didn't happen here, but very, very, very entertaining match. Not quite on par with their Red Belt match, but again, phenomenal match. Thought this was still good fun.
Yeah, real quick for any of you new watchers to Stardom, I know there's new all the time. Definitely take the time to watch Maika versus Smoking, but for the red belt. There's been so many great matches for that belt. That one kind of flies under the radar, but it's really a phenomenal, hard-hitting affair. But yeah, literally, this is match 1. And if you're in the fan, you know, that you always start wanting a hot opener. Maika comes down the rampway and Tomoka Inaba's like, your theme music now is so nowhere near as good as the last one, that what I need to do is I need to stop you. That I think between all that history you just mentioned,
justified aggression.
Justified aggression. I love it. These two just start in the aisleway, and it just keeps going. And it's just 8 minutes. I wish it would have went longer, but at the same time, when you see a big heavyweight, either boxing fight or MMA fight where they're just throwing bombs, it's not going to last long. And that's what happened here. There's a lot of fighting spirit. I know there was a lot of discourse online about kind of the no selling of like the Michinoku drivers, which I do understand to that point. But at the same time, the fact that Tomoka laid down the gauntlet in the aisleway, I get the fighting spirit. I get like this is more than just 2 points. It's 2 of Taka Michinoku's prize students. And the fact that Tomoka has not gotten to Maika's level, at least not yet. The potential is definitely there. So I understand that discourse, but I also understand of like, hey, when you have that much aggression, that sometimes it takes a little bit more than 1 or 2 big things for them to feel it because of the adrenaline and their story they're telling. And by the way, if you ever want to know if the no selling is too much or not enough, or if it makes sense, just listen to the crowd. And the crowd was 100% into it, and the entire show, by the way. This match laid the groundwork for the crowd being molten hot for this entire show. So again, the crowd reaction absolutely justified their fighting spirit, as I'll call it, Rob. Again, back and forth, we got the lariats, we got the kicks. I love it how Tomoka blocks a lariat with a kick, and then Maika blocks a kick with a lariat. I always think that's just great. It reminds me of like Street Fighter 2 of like Ken and Ryu throwing the fireballs and negating their big move. Eventually, we get towards the end as Maika stops a penalty kick with the Michinoku driver. I love that. Like Tomoka Inaba's coming off the ropes, going for the 1-shot 1 kill. It's like, I got her. And Maika's like, no, you don't, because I just get up and just scoop you and just drop you with the Michinoku driver. Inaba comes back with the Inaba drop for a 2 count. Maika dodges the 1-shot 1 kill kick. Ducks that, hits a huge 360 lariat, and then hits not 1 but 2 Michinoku drivers. It's like, now I got you down, I'm going to push you down for the 3 count. 4.25 stars. Wowzers, what an opener. You want to, again, hot opener? This was volcano hot opener. This was phenomenal, my friend.
Quite literally the epitome of getting the action hot early on. Lady C and Konami. Lady C's appalling July continues with a loss here to Konami, who quite literally punted the fight out of the human tower. Matt, what were your thoughts on this?
You can tell Lady C was almost as aggressive as Tomoka Inaba. She comes out with a double leg mounted forearms to the legit shooter in Konami, hits a big tackle and a big boot, and like Konami's like right from the bell. It's like she just got rocked. She doesn't know where she's at. And then she just sees Lady C running at her with another boot. And she's like, yeah, I don't want to take that. So she low bridges the ropes. Lady C goes to the floor. That gives Konami a chance to kind of clear the cobwebs of this early beating Lady C was putting on her. Then Konami's like, oh, yeah, this is who I want to be. I want to be on the floor because, again, she's a member of Hate. And what do Hate like to do? Throw their people in the chairs. And what did Konami do to get her first advantage of this match? Throws Lady C in the chairs. So I like that. Back in the ring we go. Lady C comes back with a huge boot and the running Bruiser Brody style knee for a 2 count. Konami ducks a backdrop and she counters a backdrop suplex into the Fujiwara armbar and then uses the Fujiwara armbar to start laying in those snap kicks that she does also well. We do see that Konami then counters a choke slam into a rolling armbar into the belly down armbar. Very much shades of Yuji Nagata in the Nagata lock. Konami then puts the rear naked choke on a Lady C. Lady C fires out of the rear naked choke, hits a huge choke slam, and then goes for that big running boot. However, Konami ducks the running boot, hits a German suplex, buzzsaw kick, punt kick is what puts down Lady C. A very aggressive match. That's so Lady C with a lot of fighting spirit towards the end. But Konami kind of on the back foot with some counter wrestling, Rob, is the story I got out of this with the low bridge in the beginning of the match that led to Lady C eating the chairs. And then Lady C looking like she's going to put Konami down with the choke slam, but Konami using the quesadora, the roll up, the prong hold, if you will, into the arm bar that eventually spells doom for Lady C. Again, I liked it how Konami had to use counter wrestling here to win 4 stars for me.
All Hate then, Tora and Rina. And these two surprised me actually last time they wrestled in the previous tournament. And I thought it was an equally great matchup here, Matt. What about you?
Yeah, I thought this one might have been even a little bit better. The crowd was really into it.
This, in my opinion, was better, definitely.
The crowd was into everything, but boy, howdy, they were really into, especially Rina towards the end when it looked like when Tora starts kind of getting the domination. Real quick, buddy, Rina's new look, 5 stars for the 5-star. I mean,
absolutely.
She's always had, especially these last year and a half, a really cool look, but like she has really upped her game. And hopefully they update the renders, my man, and we can talk about that new look on the render. Hopefully they updated fast and they did Utami when she had the leather. She came out with a leather jacket for her re-debut. I'm like, yeah, that's the render we're going to give you. Like, don't you have 5 years of photos? Anyhow, big lockup to start, and then you just have basically Tora overpowering Rina, and then Rina using her skill to kind of get up on Tora here towards the second part of the match. But I love it how Rina uses the second rope knee bomb and the top rope knee bomb. I love that. And that's really her first big advantage of this match. Tora comes back with a sit out DVD for a 2 count. Tora then hits the corner cannonball, goes to the top rope for the swanton. Tora misses, and I love this. This completely makes sense. Tora misses the swanton. When Rina gets up, Tora's legs are right there. Rina wins a lot of matches with the jackknife, rolls up Tora for the jackknife, and even the crowd was like, 1, 2, oh, like this is when they really get into Rina. Like they were into the whole match, but that was the point where they're really getting behind Rina in this match. Again, Rina is just one little angle away of being one of the biggest baby faces in this company because she's so good. Rina hits a big boot. Tora comes back with a huge lariat and then a pop-up power bomb for a 2 count. And then Tora goes to the top rope, finally hits that swanton bomb she was looking for earlier. 4.25 stars for me. This one going about 11 minutes. I thought was the perfect time for these two to tell their story. I had it 4 stars, but I gave it the extra quarter because of the intensity from the crowd, especially Rina, from the jackknife pin until the finish from the swanton bomb. I thought the crowd psychology here was really perfect between these two members of Hate, which is sometimes difficult when you have not only heel versus heel, but you have faction versus faction. Like it worked back in the 90s when you had the NWO and the Horsemen because they're heels, but they're different factions. So it's sometimes a little trickier when it's heel versus heel in the same faction. And these two, very much like last year, Rob, they were able to pull it off, which is just akin to how great Natsuko Tora and Rina are.
You've said a couple of times about Rina being, very close to being a babyface. Do you want her to be a babyface though? Really? I mean, surely you have your next big tweener heel. I know that Saya Kamitani is a heel, still gets big reactions. I see Rena far more as a natural successor to that role than I do as a babyface. I think she would work so well as that sort of character, more so than, if you look at Hannon, for example, who is, if we're using Marvel terminology, Captain America, uncorruptible, white meat babyface. I think that Rena works far better as a villain than she does in that sort of cookie cutter babyface situation.
Are you saying Rena's Hydra Cap, Rob, if we're using that analogy?
I think she has to be.
When the time's right. She's only 19, in the immortal words of the late great Roddy Piper. You double your run. You do the baby face run, and you do the heel run right before it gets to the tippy top. Then you go baby face, and then once you go baby face, before you get to the tippy top, you go back as a heel. Then you finally climb that mountain. There's a reason why Roddy Piper, we still quote him to today, because he's an absolute genius. So you can double your run as a heel and a baby face. Look at Kamitani, Momo Watanabe. They tried it with Io, but they only booed Io when she was wrestling Mayu. But you get my drift, buddy. But yeah, you made a great point. Do I want her to see a baby face? I'm sure whatever she does, she's going to be successful. But at the same time, she won't have to change her character that much, because the reason why she's getting these cheers is what she's doing. It's not like we're going to turn her baby face, we're going to completely change her hair, give her a complete different outfit, we're going to put her under a mask, and we're going to have her doing nothing but headlocks and arm drags. Like, no, the reason why they're cheering her is because she's this character. So yeah, I mean, keep her a heel whenever the timing's right or something falls in play. Then maybe you go there and then you can turn her back to a heel. But there's really nothing that she can't do that isn't going to be entertaining and draw money, because she's a special talent. Now, again, Rob, the fact that she's doing this at only 19 years old, she's got such a grasp on pro wrestling and the psychology behind it and the storytelling behind it. I mean, and we're lucky enough to be witnessing it all and talk about it on this show. So, I mean, who better than us, buddy? Who better than us?
In complete contrast to the match that got 11 minutes and time to breathe, this was over in a heartbeat. 3 minutes, and Azumi rolls up Sayaka Kurara, whose downfall continues, having lost to Tomoka Inaba, Maika, and Azumi in back-to-back matches. Matt, again, I imagine there's not a great deal you can say about a 3-minute match, but what were your thoughts?
I'll pretty much go through the whole entire match here. Get a forearm exchange to begin. Azumi hits a German suplex, goes for a destroyer. Sayaka blocks the destroyer with a roll up. And right there, they're setting the tone. Like, I knew the finish of this match, so I didn't watch it live. But right there, they're setting the tone. This can end at any second. And the crowd bit on that falsie. So their hook, Azumi and Sayaka's hook, right in the first get-go, got the crowd. So I think they probably knew, like, we got him. Like, we know it's going to be a shorter match, but we got him on the first hook. Azumi hits a suplex. Sayaka comes back with a fisherman screw for a 2 count. Azumi hits a head kick. And then Sayaka hits a big spear. Sayaka goes to the top rope. However, Sayaka goes to the top rope. Azumi hits a head kick onto Sayaka Kurara while she's on the top rope, hits the double foot stomp for a 2 count. And then we do see Sayaka. She's been doing this quite a bit, where she does the schoolgirl roll up, and as the person's getting to their feet, next thing you know, here comes Sayaka launching herself with the spear. I absolutely love that setup for the spear. Hits the spear for a 2.9 count, goes for the spear again. And again, the fact that the crowd bit that spear, they bit for that falsie there, like 2.5 minutes in, goes to show you that they know they're gonna get him on the finish. Azumi dodges a second spear, double Azumi sushi. All it took 3 minutes. I wish it would have went longer, very much like Azumi and Poi last year. Wish it went longer, but I understand what they did, and they got the crowd. 4 stars for me, my friend. Again, I wish it went longer, but the fact that they hooked the crowd twice on those 2 falsies, and then they popped for the double Azumi sushi, job well done, ladies. Job well done. Because sometimes I can't get out of a big lockup and a headlock in 3 minutes, and these 2 told the whole story. So what do I know?
There you go. There you go. And this was fantastic. Mei Seira and Azusa Inaba with what could potentially be, at this point anyway, match of the tournament. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Again, we've already waxed lyrical about Azusa Inaba with a match against Utami. Took it up to a new level here against Mei Seira. We had the high-speed exchanges, we had the striking, we had the emotion, we had the sort of high intensity as we closed towards that closing bell. this was fantastic. And this, for me, is exactly what the 5-star Grand Prix is all about.
It's all about opportunity. Like, this isn't Utami. This isn't Sai Kamitani. This isn't Mo. This isn't like your top 5 or 6 tier, but can be. We mentioned going into the 5-star Grand Prix, they're doing something with May Sarah. We figured out Azusa Inaba she'll have a good tournament because she's a good wrestler. She's a great wrestler. She's a fantastic wrestler, and she's showing it in this tournament. We're going to have a lot of main eventers coming out of this tournament, a lot of wrestlers that have never challenged for the Wonder Belt that really were like, boy, I'd love to see them challenge for the Wonder Belt and maybe possibly win it. And these two, Rob, can you imagine if May Sarah does defeat Hanan to win the Wonder Belt and it's like her V1 or V2? That's gonna sell a Korakuen Hall. That's gonna get a good pay-per-view buy. Just running it off this, seeing what these can do. Again, kudos to Stardom with all these matches. We're like Azumi and Sakura is gonna be great because Azumi, one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Sakura won the red belt coming off, a red belt run. Obviously not huge, but she did win the red belt. Like, that's gonna be fantastic. And it's like, no, we're gonna cut that for time, and we're gonna give all the time to Azusa and May Sarah. Like, what a gutsy call on Stardom. And buddy, it obviously worked. Again, the pop that Azumi and Sayaka got, and then this match bleeding right into it. It's like, we're gonna give you all the time we possibly can. And they did, and they got everything in here. You got the great chain wrestling between the two. You got the great high-speed wrestling from both wrestlers. And we say this all the time. Azusa Inaba is a very underrated high-speed wrestler. Like, because we really don't get to see it that much as we see with May Sarah and Yuna and, a few years ago, Natsupoi, Koguma, Hazuki, Azumi, Starlight Kid, so on and so forth. And then you get the wild brawl into the floor. And then you get Azusa putting heat on May Sarah. And then that's when you get the crowd getting behind May Sarah. And May Sarah is one of the most explosive wrestlers on this planet. So when she makes her comeback, it's really going to mean something. And she sure does. I mean, if she's able to come back here with a big drop kick, Azusa hits a head kick, May Sarah with the shooting star roll up for a 2 count. And these two start going back and forth with the 2.8s and 2.9s and 2.91s. Really getting the crowd going here. Azusa with a pump kick and a half-out suplex. May Sarah hits a power bomb and then goes for the goodbye piece power bomb. Azusa rolls up May Sarah. And again, considering the last match conditioned the crowd to be like, this match can end in any second, these roll-ups. And they did all of the roll-ups, Rob, because the crowd is absolutely biting on all these roll-ups. And then we do see May Sarah hits a drop kick. May goes for a German suplex, but as she pops Azusa up, Azusa does a great job hooking her inner leg into May's outer leg, thus rolling into the knee bar, which was so seamless. Like, that was like so like Sakuraba style perfect. I'm like, what a great submission wrestler Azusa Inaba is. May Sarah comes back with the dropkick fisherman suplex. She goes for the checkmate, Rob, and wouldn't you know it, Azusa Inaba blocks the checkmate. Unbelievable. Who saw that coming? But she does it with a head kick, and then back into the heel hook she goes. Azusa hits a pump kick, and then locomotion half-out suplexes as the time expires. 4.5 stars. I think this is the best Azusa Inaba match I've ever seen. May Sarah, it's definitely somewhere up in the catalog. I know there's so many great matches that we get to see, we call with these wrestlers, especially May Sarah in the last few years. But this goes to show that when the time is right, give them a white belt match, give them a red belt match, special talents. Again, kudos to Stardom, giving the last match with 2 main eventers 3 minutes, but then giving this match 15 minutes, because boy, howdy, did it absolutely work. And again, the match structure was, hey, a roll-up can finish any match. We saw it in the last one. They did so many, and the crowd bid on every single one. And then went to the time limit driver. It was like, oh, catch their breath. And then, which as a performer is exactly what you want. And as a fan is exactly what you want. And this is probably top 5 match of the tournament. If you would have shown the list of, hey, Matt, here's the first 6 nights of the tournament, what do you think is going to be your top 5? I'm like, yeah, this will be good. I didn't think it'd break my top 5. And it did. It did. This was great. Again, 4.5 stars, buddy. This was absolutely brilliant. And again, Stardom giving the opportunity for these wrestlers to be like, here you go. Show us what you can do. I don't think there's anybody that thought this was anything less than a home run. And if you did, sorry, you're wrong.
Wow. Tough words. I will just say, I know that Rina Yamashita and Utami is still one of, if your favorite match of the tournament so far. This is better, in my opinion.
This was better than Rina and Utami, but I have some other placements. We'll
Well, okay. Up until now, to this point, we move on then to the All Mi Vida Loca affair between Atsuki Aoki and Akira Kurogane. Atsuki Aoki continuing her very, very good start to the tournament against Akira. And this was good fun. It was good fun because not only did it feel again like a proving ground for Akira, but you also had that big sister energy from Atsuki Aoki, who basically was looking to teach love through violence, which I'm all about. I'm all about, Matt.
And I think she succeeded. I really think she
absolutely succeeded to the point where she had to carry Akira's body out of the ring afterwards.
But there's a lot of respect there. Akira earning a lot of respect, very much like again what she did with Bozilla at the end of the tag tournament last year. So she's earning a lot of respect, even eating L's. Yeah, this was a fun match. I gave it 4 stars. It's exactly what you thought it'd be. Your good wrestling, your hard hitting between the two. Yeah, a lot of violence. Like there was a really violent form exchange towards the middle. Like Aoki's like, okay, you can hit me harder, and Akira's like, okay, that's what you want. And I was like, wow, like Akira was really bringing the fire to Aoki here, but eventually just too much Aoki here with the slingshot German suplex and the running air raid crash that she calls, what's it called, Rob? The Rasha Scissors?
The Rasha Scissors, I believe. Now, that could be just a dodgy translation, and I apologize if it is, but that's what I call it.
Yeah, I have it. I just go with the technical term, which again is running air raid crash. 4
it's
stars.
Just air raid crash, yeah.
4 stars for me.
Semi-main event. This was carnage. Maki Ito and Rina Yamashita. Now, again, they have met before in GCW, and they liked to bring the GCW influence to a Stardom ring, which was quite nice. Obviously, Rina Yamashita, something of a deathmatch connoisseur. In fact, I believe today she's actually competed for the BJW Deathmatch Championship against Abdullah Kobayashi. So I don't know how she did, but just to emphasize my point, Matt, absolute carnage to the point where the match ended because they were both tied up in a rope and couldn't get out in time.
I love the finish because when the 20 hit, we see double countouts all the time, and it's like they just missed getting in. When they were nowhere to be found, it was like
weren't
18,
even in shot.
19, and I was like, well, they better run fast. 20. I'm like, okay, it's a different double count out. And then you see a couple seconds later, yeah, they're all wrapped up in tape. I don't know what happened. Somebody released the Snyder cut, released the Okada cut. You know, how did they get there? That's what I want to know. But this match was a whole lot of fun, considering how great the show. And again, we're going to get in the main event in a moment. And how great the whole show was. They brought something different. Like Rina, right from the get-go, like knocks Ito down, goes for the splash mountain. Ito's like, backslide for 2 count. Ito gets a little advantage, goes for the Kakesha headbutt, and Rina's like, that's not happening. So it's kind of like some back and forth. Ito trying to work over Rina's leg, Rina trying to go for the clothesline on Maki Ito. They spill it to the floor, then they get back in, and they spill back out to the floor. And I mean, I know it was a 20 count, but I think they were out there for about 3 minutes. They like before they got the actual count out, it's probably a fourth of the match has gone by. And again, they get the really violent exchange on the outside, and then we get the double count out. Again, this match was a lot of fun. It offers something completely different on this card than everything else. Like if you just watch this match and just this match itself, you're still going to enjoy it. But watching the show all the way through, this show offered something different from everybody and from every match, which is one of the reasons why I think the crowd was into it so much, because everything had a little bit of every match was a little bit different, still yet awesome. I gave this 4 stars, my friend. And I loved how Maki Ito, like Rina's beating up Maki Ito on the chairs, and then Maki Ito's like, oh, pulling a Star Wars episode 3, like I have the higher ground. She hits the tornado DDT off the chairs, which is kind of like your big go home bump, because then after that, then all of a sudden you just don't know where they are until they come back up, wrapped up in tape. Again, I don't know what happened, Rob. Do you want to speculate how they ended up in that?
I mean, who even knows? Who even knows at this point? All I can think now is Maki Ito going, "It's over, Rina. I have the high ground." Rina just on the floor like, oh, Star Wars and Simpsons all in one. Incredible.
And Stardom. There you go. You get it all.
There you go.
You get it all.
Main event then, Sareee versus Utami Hayashishita, the wrestling equivalent of 2 fridges running into each other. I absolutely loved this match. I thought it was great, had big main event feel, and these two just fit so well together. Their styles mesh so well together. And it's interesting, actually, to see how much Saori has improved in ring since Utami left in April 24. Like, in some ways, it's not that long. It's only 2 years, but in some ways, it's a lifetime ago, because Saori is a completely different beast, a completely different gorilla than she was when Utami left. See, honestly, I'm incredible. But this was fantastic. It was everything I wanted it to be when I saw that this match was on this card. Just two people hitting each other hard, big bombs, big drops, big suplexes. Exactly what I wanted, Matt.
I'm gonna make a bold statement, buddy. We talked about Meltzer versus Azusa Inaba. I don't even know if that was the best match of the show, because I like this one just as much. I still don't know. I liked it just as much.
This was very, very good, in fairness.
This was, I mean, what a great way to end this show. Forearm exchanges start, and then we get a tackle exchange between the two. Tommy with a sliding lariat. We get a then they start slamming each other on the aisleway, because why not? And then we get a tackle off in the aisleway. Big fan of that. We finally go back in the ring, and they're like, how are we gonna? Because they kind of even each other out on the outside with the tackle off and the slam. So they get in the ring. They're like, okay, how do we restart this match back up? Let's just keep forearming each other really, really hard. Okay, then we get a forearm chop exchange here, because I think Saeed like, I throw really heavy forearms, but Utami throws one of the most brutal ones in Joshi. So let me stop the forearms and let me go to the chop. And that gives Ida a little bit of an advantage. Ida hits that jumping chop into the Dragon Sleeper. Ida then hits her version of the Diamond Dust, which I believe she calls the Ida Rock, for a 2 count.
She does.
Back to look at me. It's almost like I read a book in 2021 called from Rob Goodwin, Living the Dream, Stardom 2021. Anywho, Ida hits a big suplex for a 2 count and a huge corner lariat. She goes for the muscle buster. Utami escapes the muscle buster and was just like, hey, I have Saeeda's back. I may as well launch her in the air as high as humanly possible. And that's what Utami does. Again, I think as far as best German suplexes in wrestling, I think it's like Chira Hashimoto, Utami, and everybody else. And Utami's definitely getting in her quota of German suplexes in this tournament, Rob. We need to have an over-under of German suplexes of Utami and Starlight Kid costume changes. That might be the next thing going up on the poll. Again, Utami hits a German suplex, air raid crash, and a sliding lariat for a 2 count. Utami then hits a torture rack bomb, and then that opens up the door for Utami to go to the hijack bomb, but Ida escapes. Ida Bashi, the way this was sold from the referee and Utami and Saida, the crowd bit on this for the falsie. Again, the hook of Azumi and Sayaka there. And then Ida hits a huge lariat, and then Utami comes back with a huge lariat of her own. Utami then hits a forearm, and then another German suplex. And then Utami hits this 360 lariat. Between how hard she threw this and the insane Shawn Michaels 1992 bump that Saida took for this, the torture rack bomb, hijack bomb was a formality at this point. Like, you know, to quote, was it Nelson Muntz, but it was a Simpsons reference. He's already dead. Was it Martin? Who said that, Rob, on The Simpsons? He's already dead.
I think it was just a random kid. It's just a random kid. Yeah. Yeah. Stop it. He's already dead. Yeah.
But it was a Simpsons reference. But that 360 lariat, wowzers. And considering the fact that it was that Utami did the air raid crash and a few German suplexes, definitely targeting the neck of Saida. And I like how she goes for the hijack bomb early on in the match, doesn't get it. Here it takes the 360 lariat, and then Ida just landing right on her neck. And then Saida is just like, okay, I'll go for the hijack bomb because it looks cool. And that does Saida in. Rob, 4.5 stars. This is just another phenomenal match in this tournament. Again, I know a lot of people are saying that Meltzer and Azusa Inaba is their favorite match of the tournament, and fair play to you. I'm not going to argue. Might not have been the best match on this show. That's how great this main event was. Again, I still don't know which match I like better. And I don't, it's like saying, what's your favorite Utami versus Shiri match? The one where they wrestle. Like, what do you want from me?
Moving on to the final night in a moment, because Matt is going to tell us how him and Amber did in their little household predictions contest.
Amber with 5 did very good, puts her up to 23. My Uncle MT, 6, puts me up to 27 before we go into Korakuen Hall, good sir.
Well, there you go. And speaking of Korakuen Hall, night 6 of the 5-star Grand Prix aired live on Stardom World, 28th of July. Korakuen Hall attendance, by the way, 1,344. Now, this is a 25.72% increase on the company's previous show at the venue, 1,069, even though that was a nighter show in July. It becomes the 7th 1,000 plus attendance for Stardom at the venue. Now, in regards to comparisons to last year's tournament, it's a 25.14% increase on the Korakuen Hall block show as a part of last year's tournament. 1,074 they drew on the 6th of August, which was main evented by Saya Kamitani versus Hanan. This show also sees the company surpass 9,000 people in total for the attendance for the month, 9,026 for the month of July. This is their highest ever for a month of July, a 25.44% increase on last year's total, where they only drew 7,347, and a 3% increase on their previous best of 8,763, which they achieved in 2023, where they ran about 1 billion shows. Let's run through the results then. Obviously, we did open with a tag match, a 6-woman tag match, and it gives me great pleasure to announce that it was won with the Tom's Tundra. But I'll let Matt do his match rating afterwards, and then the rest are 5-star Grand Prix matches. So we opened with a 6-woman tag. Cosmic Angels, Ankanai, Saori Anou, and Natsupoi defeated Mai Shima, Kyoko Katatsu, and Motoi Hamabe. Saori Anou pinning Kyoko Katatsu with Tom's Tundra in 7 minutes and 40 seconds.
12 stars because of the finish. No, 3.5 stars.
Blue Stars A match, Julia Hart making her singles debut for Stardom, moving to 2 points, defeating Rian, who is on 0 points with the submission that she calls Heartless in 5 minutes and 31 seconds. Red Stars A, Itsuki Aoki moves to 8 points, 4-0 Itsuki Aoki, defeating Sayaka Kurara, subjecting her to a 4th straight defeat to keep her on 4 points, again hitting the Rasha Scissors in 10 minutes and 4 seconds. Blue Stars B, Amisori gets her first win of the tournament, moves to 2 points, defeating Yuna Mizumori, who stays on 0, with pinning her with a like Thunderbolt in 7 minutes and 29 seconds. Red Stars B, Maki Ito moves to 5 points, defeating Lady C, who stays on 0, giving her the rather unfortunate, the dubious honor of becoming the first person mathematically eliminated from this tournament on night 6, Matt. She was eliminated from the tournament before Starlight Kid had wrestled a match.
Or Kamitani.
Just the disrespect is unreal. We'll talk about that in a minute. Maki Ito submitting Lady C with the Ito clutch. Pinning Lady C with the Ito clutch in 8 minutes and 3 seconds. Red Stars A, Natsuko Tora continues her dominance over Maika, 4-0 over Maika now, Natsuko Tora. She moves to 4 points, defeating Maika, who stays on 6, pinning her with the Swanton Bomb in 11 minutes and 18 seconds. And yes, absolutely, of course, it was a completely clean match with no cheating. Blue Stars A, Suzu Suzuki moves to 4 points, defeating Miyu Amasaki, who stays on 0, with a German suplex in 7 minutes and 5 seconds. Red Stars B, Konami moves to 6, defeating Utami Hayashishita, who stays on 3, with a full body rear naked choke. 12 minutes and 41 seconds there. Utami with an absolute mountain to climb. And then finally, Blue Stars B main event, Saya Kamitani and Starlight Kid, 1 point apiece. That ended in a time limit draw, 15 minutes there. Matt, obviously, we will be talking about the 5-star Grand Prix matches, as I've already mentioned. Rian versus Julia Hart. Julia Hart, her first singles outing in Japan. What were your thoughts on this?
This was a safe match for Julia Hart to have. If you remember when they brought in Anna Jay, she had Saori Anou. You could tell Saori Anou kind of put her where she needed to go. This was a safe match. I had it at 3.5 stars. I think it was a very basic match. There wasn't anything too much to it. I thought Julia Hart had a lot of aura. You know, she comes into Korakuen Hall. She does have the big feel. She has the hat. Must be watching, knowing that May Sakurai gets over in that building with the hat. So I figured, hey, copy an A, get an A. There's a couple things like when Julia Hart was like throwing her strikes when she was throwing her clothesline. That's what I call rainbowing them, where it's just like even if they don't duck, they're gonna get under. And I always say, just throw the clothesline. If they're supposed to duck and don't, that's on them. So I wish she would. You know, I think these are things she's going to pick.
Handsome philosophy.
Yeah, just throw it. You know, it's they're supposed to get out of the way. Like, but I thought everything else was really good. I liked how Julia Hart was selling the foot stomps. Rihanna again, the outfit. I thought she looked terrific. We're gonna see Julia Hart. You know, when she's up against, I think she's wrestling Hina on I think this weekend. I know she's got a couple big matches coming up this weekend. So we'll see when she gets to the Hinas, the Suzus, how she's going to fare. 3.5 stars. Again, only had a few minutes, kind of a safe match. So nothing awful by any stretch of the imagination, but really nothing major to go off of. But yet I'm still really interested and I'm still really excited for the rest of her tournament. Again, 3.5 stars. And I do want to say, Rob, that my wife did pick Rihanna to win this match. And I was like, hun, like they're not bringing Julie Hart to lose to no effect. Like we love her. And Rob, I try to tell her, I'm like, you can switch that. You can switch them. She's like, no, because you did this last year with Saida and Yu Amasaki and KBS. I'm like, hon, I'm telling you, like this is going to be a lock. Like Julia Hart is going to win. So then when she won, then a 5-point handicap that she was saying that she wanted, I may have to give her. So.
Yeah, maybe. You're absolutely right, by the way. Obviously, Stardom have got 5-star Grand Prix shows all weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the first, the second, and the third. Julia Hart on all three. She wrestles Hina on the first at Sendai Pit, wrestles Ruaka in Utsuna Maya on the second, and then is wrestling Aya Sakura in Korakuen as well on the third. So big matches for Julia Hart. I think safe is probably the best way of describing this match. There was a couple of moments where I think there was a little bit of miscommunication and things like that, which is bound to happen. Completely different country, completely different wrestling style, completely different language. And again, I think similarly with Anna Jay, there will be a significant improvement as she moves her way through the tournament. This was never going to be the defining moment of Julia Hart's tournament.
No, I did want to mention that like Rihanna only wrestling like a year and a half is not going to be the one to like if something misses for her to get there. Not yet, she will. Where Saori Anou last year, like you can tell, like and Anna Jay is very good, very much like Julia Hart, but it was like you're going to have a better match with Saori Anou because it's Saori Anou. And if something messes up, Saori Anou is going to cover it and maybe even make it even better. We're getting Rihanna. We'll probably see there in a couple of years. But yeah, I think, yeah, as I said, safe was the way to go.
I think a better indicator will be the Hina match on the 1st of August. Sayaka Kurara and Itsuki Aoki. This was brilliant. This was such a good match. And I watched this live. And you sort of messaged me saying, I know Kid versus Kamitani is obviously must-see viewing. What else would you recommend? Obviously, mentioned Utami versus Konami. This was really, really good. Really good, I think. Sayaka Kurara, tremendous performance as the underdog fighting from underneath. I thought Itsuki Aoki was brilliant. My one thing about this match, and I'm interested to know your opinion on this. What is your opinion on kicking out someone's finisher at 1? Because Itsuki Aoki hit the Rasher scissors and Kurara kicked out at 1 and fired up. What are your thoughts on that in terms? Because obviously Rasher scissors, we've seen one of those pin Akira Kuragane, and I know there is a significant sort of distance between Kurara and Akira. Yeah. In terms of the roster, we saw a hit 1 against Tomoka Inaba for the win. What are your thoughts in terms of that? Does it diminish the finish or is it a case of, adrenaline, firepower?
I like that. That was like very Saida. Yeah, you're in your gorilla phase here, buddy.
Absolutely.
Very Matt Turner-esque. I would always be like, what's your finish? I'm like, all right. And then I'd kick out at 1. I'm like, I'm selling t-shirts. You're not, and I'm burying them. No, in all seriousness.
No sell your finish.
Yeah. I'm like, what's your finish? Like Harley Race. What's your finish, kid? I'll move. Great question, because especially the fact that she's winning a lot. Itsuki Aoki's winning a lot of matches with it. So it's almost like that's end game here. But the fact that Kurara, they're doing something with her even on losses. I got a reaction not a massive reaction. So it wasn't like an exact like hit, and at the same time, it wasn't like, oh, they kind of buried Aoki here. Kind of almost got lost in the shuffle of the match. So I guess it all depends on the situation. Like it all depends on the delivery. I thought that the story part of it was good, not great. Go ahead, you're gonna say something, buddy.
The only reason I ask
Sure.
is because there are moments when it works, and the big one for me,
Tomoka and Micah, we mentioned it. Like they're
yeah,
firing off. Yeah, that worked.
but also so there was a great match, Walter and Tyler Bate, NXT UK Takeover Cardiff, tremendous match. Gone for 40 minutes. Walter hits the power bomb on Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate kicks out at 1, fires up, turns around straight into a lariat, and is pinned. And that story makes sense because you've used your last vestiges of energy to kick out this massive move to stay in the match, but one last lariat, one last move, and that's it. You've got nothing left. You've emptied the tank to kick out the move. That for me is a great story if it's not overutilized. I wouldn't necessarily mind Sayaka, and I feel like we're focusing on a very small part of what was otherwise a very, very, very good match. But the placement of this was really strange as well, because it was the first Rasher Scissors that she kicked off out of 1. She then kicked out of another Rasher Scissors at 2. So I feel like she should have kicked out of the Rasher Scissors at 1 later on, and then have Itsuki Aoki just pick her up, hit her with another one, and then pin her. It seemed like a very strange way of structuring those two moves.
I see your point. What they might have been going for is like, I hit you with it, kick out at 1. I hit you, kick out at 2, hit it again, kick out, now no kick out at 3. It's kind of like the Paul Heyman thing where it's like you're building momentum towards the move. Or if you're in a fight, like if I hit somebody with an overhand right and cracks them and backs them up, like, ooh, that worked. And then you kind of maybe go to something else, then you hit it again, and then now they're really wobbling, and they come back with something. Like, I know if I hit them with an overhand right, I connect it with it twice, they haven't had an answer to counter it yet, or block it, but yet it hasn't put them away, but I've gotten close, so let me go to the third time. That's always kind of the reason I go behind it. I wouldn't have done it that way, but I'm not going to tell these two how to wrestle. I'm not
going to ruin the match for me. It was just something that I was thinking about.
That's I didn't really even think about it, but I do have it in my notes, so I didn't even think about it. I'm glad that you brought that up, partner, because again, it could work in certain aspects of the match. Again, the tall tale is what was the crowd reaction, and they got a pretty good crowd reaction out of it. So I can see where it doesn't work, or it does work again. And sometimes you throw something at the wall. Hey, let's try this. And something like, oh, that didn't work. Okay. And then you learn from it, go back to the drawing board and then fix it and then do it again. Or maybe it's something gets a massive reaction. Again, like we said in the Micah Tomoka Inaba match, that not only like added to the match, but it really set the tone for the rest of the show, which was obviously fantastic. For this one, yeah, it was a little awkward, but I liked Korora firing up, hitting the violent shooting, the Falcon Arrow, the spear, and then going to the spear once too often eventually leads to the Rasher Scissors, or as I call it, the running air raid crash. But yeah, even Korora eating these L's is having great matches. She's really showing since the Kamitani title win, and then the Maki match, and that great match with Suzu that she lost the belt, and in her run in the 5-star Grand Prix, win, lose, or draw, she's having great matches. And considering even some of these matches were a little bit shorter, you're seeing something different out of her. So it's just like, I can maybe now see why they put the red belt on her, just to have her for a hot minute to transition to Suzu and then let her have great matches in the 5-star. And now with these losses, you're getting the crowd to rally behind her. It's be interesting to see on these slew of shows this weekend how much crowd support they get behind her, because they're building sympathy behind her, and the fact that she pretty much has to win every single match. So now there's going to be more of sense of urgency in her matches that then may attach to the crowd, that you may be able to connect with the crowd with, thus getting more sympathy and more rallying behind Sayaka Korora. I think that's the story they're going with, and I think that if that's what they're doing, and it does attach the crowd more to Sayaka Korora, then good on them. Good on them. 4.25 stars, buddy. I really enjoyed this match. And again, really interesting stories with Itsuki Aoki. 4-0 in this tournament. Even if she doesn't win another match, even if she misses the playoffs, this is a successful tournament for somebody that really isn't signed with Stardom in her first ever 5-star Grand Prix. And again, Korora, even eating these L's, let's see how the rest of this, very much like Tomoka Inaba, there's something going on here with the story in addition to the tournament. Let's see how it all plays out. We mentioned Waka last year. Remember, like Waka's losing all these matches so fast. I'm like, Rob, there's a story. It's like, and you're like, Matt, what's the story? I'm like, I don't know. There's clearly a story, and the story was rolling up Azusa Inaba in about 9 seconds. And I'm like, just don't question the end of the movie until it happens. So again, 4.25 stars, great match, and I'm really invested in the story of both Hazuki Aoki and Sayaka Kurora in this tournament.
Itsuki Aoki has Rina on the 2nd of August in Rina's hometown of Utsunomiya in Toshigi. So there's not a chance that Itsuki Aoki is winning that one. And then she also has Azumi at Korakuen Hall on the 3rd of August.
That's going to be great. That's going to be fantastic. Who does, you got that picked up? Who is Sayaka Kurora in any tournament matches this weekend?
No, it's it's 2 Blue Stars nights, 1st and 2nd, with the exception of Itsuki Aoki and Rina, which is on the 2nd of August, and then Korakuen Hall. She's not on the Korakuen Hall card at all. It's Azumi and Itsuki Aoki, Tora and Akira, Lady C and Azusa Inaba, and Saori Anou and Konami from the Red Stars side.
That's gonna be great.
Speaking of great, Yuna Mizumori and Ami Sohrei, this was tremendous. Considering Lady C has gone one way, having lost the Artist of Stardom Championships in just being buried under defeat after defeat, Ami Sohrei just seems to be more aggressive and angry. And that seems to have been taken out on Yuna Mizumori's chest, because there was a moment in this match where Ami has Yuna wrapped in the ropes and begins chopping at her chest. And the noise it was making was awful. I really did feel for Yuna. That aside, the match was tremendous. And I said this when we were talking about the Momo Watanabe match that Yuna had. You sometimes forget the power that Yuna has, because at the moment, high-speed champion wrestles a more high-speed style. You forget it's when she wrestles people like Momo Watanabe, like Ami Sohrei, that you remember, actually, she's a really powerful wrestler and mixes it up really well when she's across the ring from someone like that. And that was the case here.
Bingo, Rob. You got the story 100%, good sir. So it was Ami overpowering Yuna. Then Yuna's like, let me see if I can match that. And she did. And she started matching with Ami Sohrei. Then eventually she bit off a little bit more than she can chew. Ami Sohrei hitting the black hole slam. I don't know if she's ever hit that before. It's very rare. Has she? So
doesn't hit it often, but she has hit it before.
But I thought that was great. But then Yuna just brings back the fire. And then Yuna does a little bit of those fast roll-ups. She escapes it like a thunderbolt, the Tropicana for 2.9. Then she comes back with the chops, the lariats. Again, really trying to show that she can go power for power with Ami Sohrei. Eventually, Ami Sohrei hits a lariat, a Blue Thunder Bomb, and the like a thunderbolt. Those 3 big moves eventually put away Yuna. 4 stars for me. And again, I like the story where Yuna was like, let me see if I can try to match power for power with Ami. And she really hung in there up until the end, where Ami's just like, no, I'm going to dominate you. So it really goes to show the heart and the fire of Yuna Mizumori, trying something different, ultimately losing, but yet not failing. You know, we learn from our losses, and this is just going to make Yuna a better wrestler in the end. And then Ami Sohrei, you know, hopefully on her way back to the playoffs like she made last year, getting her first points of this tournament.
Ah, man, Lady C. 0-4 in the tournament, pinned by Maki Ito at Korakuen Hall, which, again, we sort of assumed would happen. But to be out of the tournament before the month is even out, 10 days into the tournament, Starlight Kid hasn't wrestled a match yet. Saya Kamitani hadn't wrestled a match yet. Suzu Suzuki had only wrestled 1 match to this point. She's been done dirty here. She's had good matches, don't get me wrong. The match with Saori was great. The match with Konami, fantastic. I knew she wasn't winning the block. I knew she wasn't progressing through the block. Whether it is me thinking with my heart over my head, I think it's extremely harsh to have her eliminated before some of the people have even wrestled.
Do you see the potential story here, Rob? I think we talked about this.
It's the redemption arc, isn't it? Getting back to the Artist of Stardom Championships.
I'll tell you what, buddy. You know your stuff, buddy. You know your stuff. So you don't want Tony Khan to be fired or Teru Okada to be fired like a lot of people want.
I don't want to see anyone lose their job.
A lot of sympathy behind Lady C. and rightfully so. And you're absolutely right. It's just like, I know we're kind of joking, but at the same time, it's like we have sympathy behind her because she's eliminated before Starlight Kid and Sai Kamitani even had a match in this tournament. So a lot of sympathy behind Lady C. So the end game can very much be, like we said, I think last week, could be her Ami Soren Hino winning those artist belts off the Triangle of Madness in Sumo Hall on the final night of this tournament. That could be the story. Now, if I'm wrong, I will be like, I don't know what they're doing with Lady C because she's massively over. Everybody really enjoys her. So that's what I think they're going. Could I be wrong? There's a possibility. Obviously, I was wrong on the Natsupoi thing, but I just think there's a sympathy story here behind Lady C that the crowd and the fan base are really going to get behind. Speaking of getting behind, of course, it's Korakuen Hall. They love them some Maki Ito. This was a great like face versus face match, but it was kind of like a more Lady C is the more sympathetic baby face, where Maki Ito's the more like kind of in your face fun person to cheer. But Lady C really took aggression here on Maki Ito, knowing like her back's against the wall. She needs to win here, or else she's going to be eliminated. And we just get Lady C with some chops, big body slam, some boot scrapes as well. Lady C hits a huge boot and a choke slam for a 2 count. Lady C goes for another choke slam, and Maki Ito counters it, Rob, with the stunner. That was a really great counter. And then the running foot stomp that scores Maki Ito a 2 count. Lady C, or then Maki Ito goes to the top rope. We don't know what she's going for. We will never know because Lady C just boots Maki Ito right in the face, sending Maki Ito right to the floor. Back in the ring we go. We do have Lady C hitting a huge boot, and then looks like maybe she's looking for that back slam. However, our back body drop slam, and then Maki Ito though counters that with the mousetrap, also known as the Ito clutch for the 3 count. 3 3/4 stars. I enjoyed the storytelling of the counter wrestling of Maki Ito, and I enjoyed the storytelling of Lady C. Had to be aggressive here, but almost was too aggressive, and Maki Ito was able to take advantage and roll up Lady C. Again, 3 3/4 stars for me.
Natsuko Tora continues that dominance over Micah, as we mentioned. Obviously, this wasn't a clean victory. There was mist, there was interference, there was chair shots, there was all sorts of stuff going on to ensure Natsuko Tora won. And I don't mind that for certain matches for Tora because, again, she's your big monster heel. So she's going to cheat to win. Again, especially against someone as powerful as Micah. Matt, what were your thoughts on this?
First of all, Micah's first 5-star Grand Prix loss since the 2013 5-star Grand Prix finals.
It's a mad statistic, that is, isn't it?
And I know she wasn't in last year's, but again, the only wrestler in the history of this tournament to win the tournament. She did in 2024. I'm sorry, I think I said she lost to Suzu in 2013. It was 2023. If I got my if I got my date wrong. Anywho, yeah, I mean, she won the tournament clean as a whistle. The only wrestler to ever do it in 2024. I know she didn't compete last year because of the injury, but she started off here 3-0. You know, wins over Azumi, wins over Tomoka Inaba, wins over Sayaka Kurora, you know, main eventers in this company. And now she has Tora, the person that beat her for the red belt 2 years ago. This match exactly how you want it to be. This was all over the place. And Micah welcomed it. She loved it. Like, this is Tora's domain on the outside. She was smiling. Like, she brought Tora up to the east side, was smashing her head off, but Micah was having the time of her life. Like, nobody was happier than Micah beating up Tora. And these two just go at it. I mean, this wasn't catch as catch can. This wasn't Malenko Guerrero by any stretch of the imagination, nor do we want it to be. Back in the ring we go. Tora hits the cannonball and the swanton for a 2 count. Tora goes back to the top rope. Micah stops her with a superplex and hangs on for 2 more suplexes. And the violence doesn't stop for Micah. Hits a huge lariat. Goes for the Mijinoku driver. However, Tora blocks the Mijinoku driver. Tora hits a clothesline. Goes off the rope for a running clothesline. But then Mike hits that 360 layer and absolutely drops Tora. And then we get all of the hate interference. Rob gets the proper boos. That leads to the missed DVD swanton for the 3 count. 4 1/4 stars. This was fantastic. This was just from the get-go, just the fight. And the fact that went 11 minutes, these two just going at each other. And you're right, these two just really have great chemistry. Again, as much as I hated how the heel turn with Kamitani happened in that match Mike and Tora was actually really good. Their hardcore match they had at the end of 2024 was absolutely insane. These two have a very hard-hitting chemistry between the two of them. Eventually, Mike has got to get that win. When, we don't know. We know it wasn't here in Korakuen Hall. Maybe if they meet each other in the playoffs, Rob, later on, I know that's a possibility, but I love this match. This was your standard, phenomenal Korakuen Hall brawl all over the place. And the fact that like Micah just had such a smile on her face, like she was so happy in this match and really dominated Tora towards the end, which is what you want. But ultimately, just too much interference, the mist, and then Tora with the bombs towards the end puts away the former World of Stardom champion. Again, 4.25 stars.
Suzuki and Miyu Amasaki. I wasn't disappointed. They left a lot on the table here. The match only went 7 minutes. I was very surprised considering, quite a few of the matches that we just had relatively short time limits. Yeah, here, I feel like Miyu Amasaki was almost cut down partway through her comeback. She started strong. Suzu overpowered her. You almost wanted more from that Miyu comeback before Suzu hit the German suplex. And Miyu Yamasaki looked good. Of course, Suzu Suzuki is fantastic. And I love the fact that she's getting the run as Red Belt champion that she goddamn has earned. But yeah, I wanted this to go 2-3 minutes more.
Yeah, only 7 minutes. I think you even told me, like, yeah, for some reason, Suzu and Miyu only went less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was after the intermission. And you have two champions in this company. With Miyu, one half of the Goddess of Stardom champions. And Suzu, your red belt champion. I give it 4 stars. I still thoroughly enjoyed it. But like, I guess the story they're telling is Suzu is a dominant wrestler and is our champion and is a dominant champion. Where just as Miyu's getting ready to make the comeback, Suzu's like, nope, this is the reason why I'm the best wrestler in this company. Again, she holds the red belt, so kayfabe, she's the best wrestler in this company. And Suzu just cuts her down with the buzzsaw kicks and the Germans and then just puts Miyu away. I guess it shows the danger that is Suzu Suzuki, because just as Miyu's getting ready to build up the comeback, we've seen Miyu in this building with those comebacks before against the Work Rate Angels, again, a year and change ago to win the artist belts, against Tora and Ruaka when they were unsuccessful in their title challenge earlier this year. So it's like, we know Miyu has a great job with the comeback. Even the tag match, I think which was the main event of the last Korakuen show going into this with O2 Line versus Mike and Hanako, that comeback on Hanako, where it's like, she's going to build her comeback up. And Sue's like, nope, absolutely not. There's a reason why I'm at the top of this company, at the top of my game. And just buzzsaws, literally, pun intended, buzzsaw kick and buzzsaws Miyu down with the buzzsaw kick, the German suplex. Miyu had a lot of great fire. Like, she brings it to Suzu. She jumps Suzu at the bell. I'm like, oh, that's brave. And then Suzu, once she gets the advantage, like snap kicks, forearms. And then Miyu's like, I'm going to forearm you back. And Suzu was properly selling it, but then very much like Mike, was smiling like, made your bed, now you got to lie in it. And then Suzu absolutely brought it to Miyu. Miyu hitting the 1 tenzai, going to the second tenzai. I like that urgency. It's like, I hit my big finish, but I know I don't have enough to put Suzu down. Let me go for a second one. And Suzu just pops her up, hits her with the forearm. Back and forth they go, but you're absolutely right. Towards the end, Suzu just blitzes Miyu, puts her away with the German. 4 stars for me, my friend.
Do you think that they're revisiting this at some point and that's potentially why they ran it so short? Or do you think it's just a case of one match needs to be cut and this is it? Because there were quite a few matches that you wouldn't expect to be going more than this that did.
I can't see where they would run this back, not unless they were going to be doing a Suzu and Pick Your Partner versus O2 Line for the tag belts, maybe to fill a Korakuen. That's the only thing that I can see, but like, I just don't see Miyu challenging Suzu for the red belt. And she lost here in 7 minutes. So not unless she wins the 5-star, which I'm sorry, I don't think she's going to do. I love Miyu on the
3 at the moment, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to do. I just think that, hey, we had to cut something. Let's just make Suzu look like a beast because she just won the red belt prior to going into the 5-star. And if that was the idea, more play to you, because you made Suzu look like the badass that she is. So not that she needs any help, but you get my point. I just think they just had to cut something for time.
Second shortest match of the night behind Rian and Julia Hart, which means that Makito and Lady C went longer. Amisori and Yuna Mizumori went longer. Yeah, just a bit surprising, especially as it's your red belt champion as well in that situation. This match was fantastic. Utami Hayashishita and Konami went the exact right amount of time. Konami getting the win. Now, you have a theory as to what is happening with Utami. Would you like to share with the group?
Everybody she's losing to are members of Hate. And if you remember, Saya Kamitani did not want to give her that one-on-one match. And then Utami's like, I'll go through every member of Hate if I have to. So obviously loses to Azusa Inaba, loses to Konami. And she was really frustrated. If you saw the post-match promo, she's just like, I can only get to 9 points. I have to win the rest of my matches and get a little help to get into the playoffs. You mentioned before, does Konami go through? Maybe she does, and Utami gets her win back here in the playoffs, or Utami wins the whole thing and then revisits the Azusa match and the Konami match. A lot of different ways they can go. I'm here for the journey. I am all for it. And I like this Utami redemption arc. I know there are some people like Matt, they're punishing Utami for going to Marigold. She's losing all these matches. And I was
She
like,
had a red belt match literally at Korakuen. I don't think they're punishing her.
I was like, no, and she's drawing, and more than likely she's going to be in the final four because she's a big star. And again, you need to do 8 to 10,000 people. So I think she's going to at least make the playoffs, Rob. I can see maybe them doing something different where maybe she won't make the final four, but I think a lot of us do. But she's definitely going to make the playoffs. So I see where you're going, and I can respectfully disagree that they're not punishing her for going to Marigold, considering the fact that she left Marigold and 2 days later she showed up at Korakuen Hall staring down the biggest star in the history of the company. That's not
and then again had a red belt match.
Yeah, and then pinned Saya Kamitani at the conversion. So yeah, I'm going to respectfully disagree. Rob, this was great. I mentioned before, like Konami, she comes in with a chip on her shoulder. Her matches have been phenomenal. This one was terrific. This one, and what a great 1-2 punch to end this show with this one and Kamitani and Star. Like the whole show was really good, but this like really kicked it up to another level. This was exactly what you knew it was going to be. It was going to be the hard-hitting nature between these two. It was going to be Utami trying to use her size and strength versus the technique and submissions of Konami. And these two told a really good story. As we're building towards here, the third act, we get a top rope fight between the two. Konami hits a head kick that sends Utami to the apron. And then Konami's already, and I love this strategy. It makes sense. Konami hits the head kick. Utami's on the apron. Konami's already sitting on the top rope. As Utami gets up from on the apron, her back is towards Konami. Konami locks in the rear naked choke while she's on the rope, which plays into the finish. Obviously, you can't get a submission win there because you're on the rope. Konami's a heel. She's going to hold that to 5 as long as she can. And Utami's sell was absolutely brilliant. So now we see Konami targeting on the neck, hits the Joshi drop kick, and shouts out to Risa Hoshinki, the 1399. Again, going to the neck of Konami. Konami locks in the rear naked choke into the triangle lancer. Tommy gets to the ropes. Again, Konami so aggressive here. Hits a German suplex for a 2 count. Utami comes back, Rob. Would you believe it? Utami starts building her comeback with a German suplex. Again, love it. Love the Utami German suplex and an air raid crash for a 2 count. Utami goes for the torture rack bomb. However, Konami slips out of that with a rear naked choke. However, Utami is able to judo throw out of the rear naked choke. It's a lariat, sliding lariat, and the torture rack bomb for a 2 count. This is brilliant towards the end. Tommy is another German, goes for the hijack bomb. Not only does Konami get out, but she gets out by using a rolling arm bar into a guillotine choke. I absolutely love that. And then great sell because it's like, is Utami going to be able to get up? And Utami's trying to get out of the guillotine choke. And you can tell these two are just listening to the crowd, waiting for the right time, just in there waiting. And then just as the crowd is right at the peak where they need to be, Utami takes her left arm, wraps it around Konami's head, and then deadlift suplexes Konami out of the guillotine choke. I thought that was great. Utami hits a lariat, but then Konami comes back with a head kick, locks back in the rear naked choke. And Rob, that's all she wrote. Pretty well clean victory from Utami.
Very clean.
It was almost like the people that own Korakuen Hall were like, look, you're allowed 5 cheating things this entire show. Like, we're giving them all to Torah. We're giving every single one to sorry, Konami, we used them all up. This was pretty darn clean. Like, I knew the result of this match, and I'm like, there's probably some interference. Really not much here, like some bending of the rules, but that was it. Great 4.5 stars. I thought this was terrific. I'm shocked at the loss. But again, very much like Sayaka Kurora, these Utami matches we're going to be looking forward to even closer because one more L or even a TLD, she might not qualify for the playoffs. And again, considering Sayaka Kurora, former red belt champion, Utami, I think everybody had picked at least go really far in this tournament, has to play off the back end. But we've seen this before. We've seen it with Mayu in 2018. We saw with Julie in 2022 that they have to make a massive comeback in order to make the playoff. And I think Utami will. She better, buddy, or else my bracket's going to be busted. Again, 4.5 stars for me.
Yeah, mine too. Main event time then. Starlight Kid and Saya Kamitani. New gear for Starlight Kid. And there's been a couple of things that have been pointed out. One, that it's very, very akin to a lot of earlier gear, harkening back to the yellow and green. There was some people that pointed out that the green is the same shade of Saya Kamitani's old gear. There was even some people who pointed out, look how much more red there is on Saya Kamitani's gear. She's progressing from dark, absolutely no color at all, progressing to more and more color on this gear. So lots of little subtle things. And then the bell rang and all subtlety went out of the window because these two went at each other like you would not believe. Absolutely glorious opening, immediately out to the ring, and Starlight Kid misses the plancha with Saya Kamitani basically yelling into the camera that, of course you didn't hit me, I'm going to move, which made me laugh. But this match, Matt, this was a true Korakuen Hall main event. It's not on the same level as their fantastic match from Supreme Fight in February, but they wouldn't have the time limit. They haven't got the title on the line. With what they were given, with the constraints of a tournament match, a 15-minute tournament match, this was fantastic. And I know you agree with me, an unquestionable match of the tournament so far.
Andy Header asked me this question because he didn't watch this match, but he watched Azumi and Micah. And he's like, what's the better match? I don't know. They're both one right now. They're both pretty much tied for one. This Starlight Kid and Saya Kamitani and Azumi versus Micah. I might lean towards Mike and Azumi maybe because I had a finish. I know that's kind of a cop-out, but if you ask me tomorrow, I might go with this one.
It is a massive cop-out.
Sorry. Like that Bruce Willis movie that Kevin Smith directed, Cop-Out. This was, if you don't know the story between the two, it's still a great match. But considering the build up to the match at Supreme Fight earlier this year with Kamitani taking the mask off Starlight Kid, and then their match of the year candidate that they had at Supreme Fight, and then kind of the build up even afterwards, because even I was like, I think they're going to do a title versus mask in Yokohama, and obviously that's not what they did. But they left some more meat on the bone, and the fact this started off as violent as it did, it's like, of course, Starlight Kid is still ticked off at Saya Kamitani for a multitude of reasons, and a lot of it had to do of taking off the mask, because Starlight Kid's trying to get her comeback here. So this goes all over the place. Yeah, Starlight Kid misses. Well, she doesn't miss the dive. She takes all the members of Neo Genesis. So that's even worse than missing the dive. It's like I just took out my whole team. And then we go up to the top part of the floor, and I like how. And I love how Daichi's like trying to get he's in there. Like he's not in the Daichi makes the climb up to the top part of Korakuen Hall with them. It's like, you guys need to get back in the ring. And they both push Daichi out of the way because it's just like the 2 points be damned. We want to get at each other. And the crowd can feel that literally because they're in the crowd. And like the one empty seat in that whole building, Kamitani puts Kid and then Kid puts Kamitani. They're chopping each other in the crowd. And then again, Daichi's letting it go because it's the main event. It's two of your biggest stars, arguably the two biggest stars in the company. And then Starlight Kid does the dive at the top part of Korakuen Hall there, which we used to see quite a bit like Io, Kairi, and Mayu. Now it really doesn't happen that often, so it makes it even bigger. I'm like, we're 4 minutes in, like, where are we going? And then we get back on the ring, and these two are just going. I mean, these two are just really special talents. I mean, we knew it was going to be great. We get into the ring. We get Starlight Kid with the Dragon Screw leg whip. We get a form exchange between the two. Starlight Kid hits this Tiger Driver that was like, I've done this Tiger Driver before. And then probably they're putting this match together. Kamitani's like, can you do one of those Misawa Tiger Drivers? And she's like, I got you.
With it.
Yeah. Like, it's like she's hit it a zillion times before. I think it was planned that way. So, I mean, and obviously, if you go back, and I watched this match twice, go back and watch it. She was protective. Kamitani did tuck the chin. That scores a 2 count. But when she kicks out, Starlight Kid puts Kamitani, the Black Tiger leg killer. Saya Kamitani selling here was a little bit of a throwback to to the Golden Phoenix. Like, she was such a great baby face seller that the crowd starts to get a little bit behind Kamitani. And I think because they didn't want her to tab out, because very much like me, they wanted this match to go as long as humanly possible. Starlight Kid goes for the top rope moonsault. Saya Kamitani stops the top rope moonsault. And how does she do it? But she just runs and then jumps up and then hits a Rana. Like, she jumps from the canvas to the top rope. And obviously a lot of this is on Starlight Kid as well, because she needs to take the flip bump. Like, just the agility of these two is just unbelievable. And then I love it. Kamitani goes for the Star Crusher, but she can't pick up Starlight Kid all the way because she can't put all that weight on the left knee because of the damage done. And Starlight Kid sees that, goes back to the leg. Kamitani is able to, Kamitani is able to roll through she's able to roll through another Black Tiger leg killer attempt. She goes and hits the rolling blue thunder bomb, but she has the laziest cover because she's holding the knee. Instead of stacking Starlight Kid that she'll do with like that, her version of the blue thunder bomb, she's holding the knee, selling the knee. It's just that little thing that I really liked. Saya Kamitani eventually hits the Star Crusher for a 2 count. She goes for the 360 Star Crusher. Starlight Kid escapes that and was just like, okay, let's level up the violence here. She hits this Spike Black Tiger pile driver. I mean, just driving Kamitani in the mat. Then goes to the top rope, hits a beautiful moonsault. And what was great about this is somebody shared an angle that they had at top of Korakuen Hall where you can see as Kid is going to the top rope, Kamitani's trying to get up. Like, you can see, like, she has her arms up trying to like use her momentum to try to get up to block the moonsault, but she can't because the damage done to the neck and to the knee. And it's just that little subtlety of Saya Kamitani doing a half sit-up with her arms flailing that is putting over Starlight Kid. And throw in the fact we got 1,400 people here in Korakuen Hall. They're going nuts. They're counting down the time. You're throwing all this stuff in. It's a sense of urgency. Starlight Kid hits his perfect moonsault, scores a 2 count. Kid then hits a Tiger suplex for 2.9 count, and then wraps up the shoulder for the Star suplex. Rob will never know how it ends because the time limit expires. However, it expires with Starlight Kid on the clear advantage. If this is an MMA fight, I'm scoring this for Starlight Kid, and I think everybody else is. Is this a match that they run back in the playoffs, Rob? I don't know. Is it something they run back if Kamitani wins the 5-star Grand Prix and we just do a special singles match? I don't know, but I think everybody wants to see this. 4 3/4 stars. Rob, as great as this match was, this is probably like their 4th best match they've had with each other. I still go to their white belt match back in summer 2022. And then their match earlier this year, and then their match from Shinjuku Face in the playoffs of the 2024 5-star Grand Prix. As great as this match was, those 3 matches, in my opinion, were better, which just goes to show you how great these two are together. This can really be a big generational rivalry between these two. They're both young. They're both insanely over. Again, we know Kamitani is the number 1 star in this company. That number 2 spot, Rob, it always kind of flips. Sometimes we think it's Kid. Sometimes we think it's Micah. We can throw it to Shuri. A lot of times we can say it's Utami. But like, these two are 2 of the biggest stars in this company and arguably 2 of the best, not arguably, but 2 of the best wrestlers in wrestling going today. And this was just brilliant. But yeah, they left something on the table. But with Starlight Kid finally looking like she can beat Kamitani, because the only time she ever beat her, I do want to bring this point up. Kid did beat Kamitani in the 2022 5-star Grand Prix. Rob, do you remember what she beat her with?
I don't.
The Momo Latch. What was the first move Starlight Kid used in this match? The Momo Latch. And go back and listen to the commentary. The commentary sold it. I was like, oh, that makes sense because Kid's only beaten Kamitani once, and she did it by the Momo Latch. So she tries to use it on Kamitani early on, and go back and watch when Kamitani kicked out, the look on her face was like, oh, damn, like, I better get serious here. I'm going to be down here. I just thought, and I don't know if that's what they were thinking when they did that spot, but that was exactly the thought that I had, which again, I always say Stardom rewards you for being crazy fans like we are. And to me, that just added to it. Again, I thought this was great. These two are fantastic. I'm excited for Kid versus Momo. I believe it's Korakuen Hall on Monday, right? I think Kid and Momo. It's Korakuen Hall on Monday.
No, it's Kamitani and Momo on Monday.
Kamitani and Momo.
It's Kid and Momo on the 2nd in Utsunomiya.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm excited for both those matches this week.
Well, to be fair, mate, on the 1st in Sendai Pit, it's Kid versus Hanan.
I'm gonna enjoy some wrestling, buddy. I think I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna sit in this chair just like this. I'm gonna support this World of Joshi shirt that I have. Which, by the way, folks, click the QR code. You can get yourself a fancy T-shirt. I'm enjoying myself in wrestling this weekend, buddy. Do something a little different I do something a little different that I don't do.
Just quickly then, before we head into Io and Kairi watch and sort of go on to what's coming up this week, just a quick recap of where we are in terms of the blocks. Red Stars A sits at Suki Aoki at the top with 8 points, Maika in second on 6, and then 4 people all on 4 points. Tora, Karara, Tomoka Inaba, and Azumi all sit in third place. In terms of Red Stars B, it's all to play for. You've got 3 people who sit on 6 points. Saya Ida, Rini Yamashita, and Konami all on 6 points. Maki Ito just behind them on 5. Of course, Azusa Inaba and Utami are there or thereabouts on 3. Same with Mei Seira, but they are going to have to start picking up some crucial victories soon. Lady C, only person officially eliminated from the tournament. Blue Stars A, at the moment, obviously, having only had, I think most people have had 2 matches. Some people have had 3. There's not a great deal in terms of points, but Blue Stars A, Suzu and Ruaka both sit at the top with 4 points, followed by a slew of people on 2. Blue Stars B, you have got Momo Watanabe, Koguma, and Hanan all on 4, Amisori on 2, and then Kid and Kamitani on 1 each. Before we get into Io Watch then, night 7 of the 5-star Grand Prix, Sendai Pit in Miyagi. Blue Stars A, Suzu Suzuki and Hanako, and Aya Sakura and Ruaka. We've also got Hina versus Julia Hart, Miyu Amasaki versus Rian. Blue Stars B, Koguma versus Saya Kamitani, Yuna Mizumori versus Kikyo Furusawa, Amisori versus Momo Watanabe, do not sleep on that, and Hanan versus Starlight Kid. Obviously, Momo Watanabe eliminating Amisori last year in the playoffs. We've then got the show on the 2nd of August, night 8, the Light Cube, Utsunomiya into Shigi. Just one Red Stars match, Rina versus Itsuki Aoki, and then it's all Blue Stars action. Blue Stars A, Aya Sakura versus Miyu Amasaki, Suzu Suzuki versus Rian, Ruaka versus Julia Hart, Hina versus Hanako. Blue Stars B, Kikyo Furusawa versus Saya Kamitani, Yuna Mizumori versus Koguma. That could be really entertaining, especially with the high speed stakes there as well. Amisori versus Hanan. Don't be surprised if we see Amisori pin Hanan. And then Momo Watanabe versus Starlight Kid. And then we have the second of our 2 Korakuen Hall block nights. Red Stars A, Azumi versus Itsuki Aoki, and Natsuko Tora versus Akira Kuragane. Red Stars B, Lady C versus Azusa, and Saori versus Konami. Blue Stars A, Aya Sakura versus Julia Hart, and Hina versus Rian. And then in Blue Stars B, Starlight Kid versus Yuna Mizumori. And then, of course, the main event, Momo Watanabe versus Saya Kamitani. Some really, really good matches as we head towards the very middle of this 5-star Grand Prix. Things really starting to heat up, especially in Blue Stars, where we haven't had a great deal of action so far. Matt, before we finish off, good sir, I think it's time for the only way we could possibly end this episode, and that is with a pre-SummerSlam Io Watch.
Real quick, but I apologize. So Amber at Korakuen Hall got 3 right, moving her to 26. I got 5 right, putting me at 32. So
there you go.
Obviously, Rob, I want to thank one Darren Chatton for giving me. He's even upping the game before. So the big Newcastle fan that he is, Newcastle's own Darren Chatton. Notice I waited for you to take a drink before I did that. Well, see, it's all about timing. So what Darren used to do is he would tell me what Io and Kairi were doing. Then he would give me time cues. Now what he's doing, if there's no actual match as a segment, he gives me a link to the segment. So I don't even need to leave our Twitter conversation. So again, thank you, Darren, because I'm sure you can tell it's busy time for us over here on the World of Joshi podcasting network with tournament season. So we have a Intercontinental title match between Sol Ruka and Raquel Rodriguez. Of course, the number games catches up. It's 3-on-1 with Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez interfering. Io comes out to make the save with her music, Rob. I'll always get a kick out of that. But this is really cool. So as Io's coming down, Liv Morgan sees Io coming down, hides behind the steps, and then jumps on the steps, vaults, and hits Io. Liv and Io are now brawling all around the ringside. Eventually, Raquel grabs Io, pulls Io up to the apron. Io gets away from Raquel. So now we have an apron fight between Io and Liv Morgan. Io does the Miyu Yamash, the push kick on the apron. That leaves Liv Morgan hitting off the post. And Io does this insane bullet train into the post where it looks like she completely protects Liv Morgan and destroys her knees because Io's just the best. So obviously again, and then she does with it. Then we have a little backstage vignette building up Io in Liv Morgan, which SummerSlam this weekend. So if you don't have enough great Joshi wrestling to watch, those SummerSlam shows on Saturday and Sunday respectively look like they're going to be really great shows. I'm really looking forward to them. And of course, next week we'll have the complete review of Io versus Liv Morgan at SummerSlam for the WWE Raw Women's Championship.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that does wrap up our episode this week. We will be back next week with our reviews of the shows from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of August. Another busy week for Stardom in the 5-star Grand Prix. But in the meantime, thank you so much for listening, watching, however it is that you are consuming the product. We massively appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't already subscribed on the podcast of your choice, we are literally everywhere. So please consider subscribing, maybe leaving a comment or a 5-star review. Properly helps the podcast out. You can also find us on Patreon, as we've already spoken about, www.worldofjoshi.com or patreon.com/worldofjoshi, or indeed the little QR code in the corner of this video will take you there for literally hundreds of hours of bonus content, as well as all of our show reviews and show previews to keep you up to date during this tournament season. You can also find us on social media at WOJ Wrestling. You can talk to me on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. Mr. Turner, sign us off, good sir.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and bestest way to get a hold of me. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok, M Turner over there as well. And then you can shoot me an email, matt@worldofjoshi.com or the StardomCast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do it without you. It's like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast because we're all together and everybody's different. Everybody's special.